Now, the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that is ICE, as you know, that's been widely known, has detained, in fact, the former Finance Minister, Kenneth Anaya Ofori-Atta, and they have confirmed, published it on his website, that he is being held in the detention center of ICE, specifically the Caroline facility in Virginia. Now, a number of you, when we broke this story a couple of days ago, have been reacting to it. Fundamental question is whether or not this is going to influence and speed up the process of his being extradited into this country. Well, his lawyers have been speaking. They are currently making efforts to stop what could be his possible removal from the United States after he was picked up by ICE for issues surrounding his status of stay within the United States of America. Now, after his letter, that's the lawyers for Ken Ofori-Atta issued this letter sometime within the week detailing why he's being held in this ICE facility. That portion of the letter, that he's been held because of his status in the United States, also generated some conversation. Is he putting processes in place to be permanent in the United States, as in permanently stay in the United States? That's the question that we'll also get some answers to this morning, because the people who are going to be joining us have been digging. They have some information about this particular aspect of the conversation that has been ongoing for the past 48 hours and more. Well, according to a public notice released by his lawyers here in Ghana, that is Menka Premo Osebonsu, Bruce Catling and partners, the former finance minister had applied for an adjustment of his status, and the matter was expected to be resolved soon. We would have a conversation this morning because there's been some pointers. Was this detention at the request of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice? Did he have in any way a hand in it? Was it influenced by our request for his extradition, which we know the United States authorities have right now, because a little over a month ago, the Attorney General gave us that indication? We'll have a conversation this morning. This is directly tied to the Operation Recover All Loot, because Ken Ofori-Atta and a number of issues that he's having to answer for, quite a number of them are within the ambit or remit of oral. It's going to be almost a year that this Operation Recover All Loot has been ongoing. In fact, it was sometime in February that the last year that the oral preparatory team submitted their report to the president with thousands of complaints. We'll tell you exactly how many of those complaints captured in that report have found merit in the eyes of the Attorney General and his deputy to prosecute. A number of you are asking questions. What is the status of oral? Some say the heat in the oral is going down. It was just blowing hot and cold. A number of you are expecting speedy trials. Some say there's been too many press conferences, even more than prosecutions. We'll have a question put to the Deputy Attorney General. You know why? Because this Operation Recover All Loot is directly on his lap. He is the one who is leading this oral prosecution in court. So he's better placed to tell us what is happening to oral. He's joining us this morning for a conversation. It was a major promise by this administration to recover stolen state funds and prosecute corrupt officials of the past administration. What is the status of oral 1 year on? We'll have a conversation this morning here on Key Point. Earlier in the week, President John Dramani Mahama at the 77th Annual New Year School by the University of Ghana, Legon, indicated that he is hoping that this will be the last time we're having to seek some help from the International Monetary Fund, because he is seeking to build a strong and resilient economy that does not depend on external rescue packages. Is this an expectation that is feasible and plausible, taking into consideration where we are now and the structure of the economy? Has anything changed fundamentally to influence the president's hope and promise and expectation that this will not happen as we going back to the IMF for the 18th time? Because we're there for the 17th time now, and we're getting out of the program, all things being equal, in the months ahead. We'll have a conversation this morning. As always, you're an integral part of it. There are so many ways you can join us with your thoughts and views, comments and opinions here on The Key Point. We're live as well on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com, on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, and Voice of London television as well. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guests will be joining me, the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Edem Srem Sai, is going to be joining us right after this quick break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. This is The Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com, on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London Television as well. Now, going into the election 2024, one of the major promises of this administration, the NDC, and its flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, was to recover all the loot that they say that the previous administration, elements within the previous administration had been engaged in. And corruption and also the 24-hour economy were the two major promises. In fact, the two major pillars of the NDC's campaign going into the 2024 elections. And it's on the basis of that that the Ghanaian people gave them the mandate. Oral is our focus this morning. Operation Recover All Loot. Even before the president took office as President of the Republic, before he was sworn in on the 7th of January 2025, he has set up a preparatory team. Martin Kpebu, he's going to be joining us as a member of that preparatory team. That's Daniel Yao Domelovo is also going to be joining us. He was a member of that oral preparatory team. These two persons have different views about how their work is playing out now and what they did, and as to whether they are satisfied or otherwise. It's a conversation we'll have this morning. But you, the people of this country, to whom this promise of recovering all loot was made, have been speaking about the state of affairs with Oral. The person on whose laps this Oral lies squarely on, that is, he's been going to court in prosecuting some of the cases that were captured in the Operation Recover All Loot. He's joining us in the studio this morning to have a conversation about the state of affairs of Oral 1 year on Operation Recover All Loot. In fact, the preparatory team put some figures to it. We're going to put this on the screen right now. They say, for instance, for the National Cathedral, some $58 million was sunk into the National Cathedral. And that was one of the issues they captured in there. The Sky Train as well. And then also they talk about the All Africa Games and others that were captured in this oral preparatory team's report. They put a figure to how much we can even get if we recover all the loot. They mentioned over $21 billion. That is how much they say that if this oral is prosecuted effectively, we can recover into our coffers as a country. I wanted to take a listen to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, who has been giving us updates of this case, the cases of oral that were captured in the report and the ones that were not captured, and how far they have gone with investigations into some of these cases. Here is Dr. Dominic Akrotinge Ayene. A few weeks back, take a look.
The investigations were necessary because the oral committee reports did not contain the evidence required to prove the guilt of the suspects in court beyond reasonable doubt. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the Sky Train, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Buankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which we'll determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project. But so far, nothing has been discovered that should, cause us to take action in court in terms of criminality.
Well, so that was the update just a few weeks back that Dr. Dominic Akrontege-Ayene gave to the Republic of Ghana regarding the cases that were captured in the oral report and the investigations into the cases so far, and some of which we will find out when they would start prosecuting some of the cases that he talked about, the Boankra Inland Port and many others that he mentioned. Well, this morning, I've been joined in the studio by the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and he is the one who is carrying this oral prosecution in court. He's joining us in the studio to answer the questions of many of you, but got quite a number of them from you, our viewers, which we'll get into. Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai is with us in the studio. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Alfred.
And Happy New Year. It's in order.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. And how's the family?
All is well.
Great.
The TV3 family, we are fine.
How about your personal family?
They're all doing well.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much
for joining us. And look, I think that it's right to say that you have been going to court on behalf of the state.
Oh yes.
On the oral cases.
Yeah, precisely.
So when it comes to
and not just the oral, I
and other
go
matters,
to court on the civil matters as well.
In the
international
cases
tribunals,
the former Chief Justice.
Yes, in ECOWAS and other places.
So if we want to ask about how oral is doing in the court of law, you are the one to talk about it.
I should think so. My boss and then myself.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, so how is oral doing?
Oral is on course.
Really?
Oral is on course. And Alfred, let me just take this opportunity to also acknowledge the works and efforts of our illustrious attorneys at the Office of the Attorney General. These are young lawyers who have dedicated their effort and time and knowledge to the service of the nation. They hardly sleep, and they're always working around the clock to ensure that the Ghanaian politician or the Ghanaian leader is left not, is accountable to the people of Ghana. And also the investigators. One of the areas that we actually forget when we are dealing with oral is the investigation team. We have the police service, that's the CID department. We have the NIB, formerly BNI, and we have IOCO. IOCO has become very popular in recent times, and we have the National Security. All these agencies are involved in the oral, and they work extremely hard. And as the process goes on, you would, if you are involved, you will see that as a country, we need to beef up our investigative, capacity, our crime detection capacity, because these gentlemen are putting in everything they have to make sure that facts are the only things that we send to court, not just mere allegations. And they've helped a lot. But that should tell you that when we say when we say oral, we need thorough investigation into allegations of corruption. And so let me take this opportunity to also explain the oral committee, because in your intro, I noticed that you touched on the oral committee's work.
The preparatory work.
The preparatory work. Yeah, so I think there's some misunderstanding of the nature of that committee, of the work of that committee. There's actually a suit on the work of the committee. So let me take this opportunity to explain. So
I see there's a suit challenging the work.
Yeah, there's a suit in court against the Attorney General challenging the validity of the committee and the work they have done. And so let me take this opportunity to just probably throw a bit more of light on the function of the committee.
Okay.
You know, in the police, when you have a case or you want to make a criminal, when you want to pursue a criminal case in court, the first thing you do is to lodge a complaint. And then the complaint is investigated. And when the complaint is investigated, then the police go to the next stage of putting a docket in place. And when they put a docket in place, they come to the Attorney General's department. We review the docket. If further investigations are required, we ask them to go and then direct them as to what to get to be able to complete the docket. This process is quite elaborate, and it could take months.
Right.
Now, what the oral committee did was to serve as a platform for people who have allegations of corruption against officials to lodge their complaint. Let's not forget, I think before the coming before the elections, 2024 elections, there were so many allegations, and people, I believe, wanted a place other than the former places of forum, rather than the former fora for lodging complaints. So instead of going to the police, or instead of going to DNI, or instead of going to IOCO, they were looking for what I think they considered a more neutral place. And so the oral committee offered that platform. So what really happened at the oral committee was to just lodge complaint. Now, after the oral committee's compilation of their complaints into a report, those complaints and reports did not have any evidence.
I see.
They were allegations that were compiled.
The 2,417, that's the number you put it, 2,417 complaints.
Complaints, yeah.
That were captured in the oral preparatory team's report.
Yeah.
They didn't have evidence.
When I say evidence, I refer to what you can put before a court. So if you recall, some of the complainants were on phone. So they will call, there were hotlines. Yes. So you call and say, look, I'm aware that this person has bought this land, and I believe there are no, due processes followed in the purchase of the land.
Okay.
And then the committee compiled that. Indeed, some people came with evidence or some form of evidence, but you see, when you are going to court to prove that someone is guilty of a crime, you need a diligently gathered evidence. And even, in fact, sometimes even the institution that gathered the evidence matters. So what the oral committee did was to compile this complaint. And you could see, if you recall, the president, when he assumed office and after my boss was appointed, submitted the oral report to my boss. Yes. Now, when that oral report was received, what we then did was to synthesize the report, categorize the allegations into various, sectors and sections, and then we submitted those that we found, to be, some were repeated reports, complaints. So two people may be saying the same thing in different ways. So we did all that, and we submitted a report to the investigative agencies. Right. Some went to the police, some went to IOCO, some went to a lot of them went to the BNI or NIB. Now, what we do after that is that these investigative agencies invite people who have been, those people who, in respect of whom the complaints were made, were invited, and investigations have been going on since. And that is why I began my conversation by thanking the investigative agency for the illustrious work that they've done to support.
And that's why we've seen IOCO, NIB, and OSP moving into some of the cases.
Yeah,
but how many of the complaints, the 2,417 that were captured in the oral preparatory team's report, how many of them have you looked at and found merit to actually investigate and go to court with?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have those cases that are due for court or are in court. Let me just go through them one by one. So we have the SkyTrain case. The SkyTrain had to do with the GIF and the SkyTrain
Yeah.
saga. Now, in SkyTrain, we started SkyTrain. We went to court somewhere in June, I believe, yeah, June, and we are the first witness is almost done with his testimonies. The first prosecution witness. We have 7 witnesses in that case, and the first witness is almost done with his testimony. There are 2 accused persons in the case. That's the former Education Minister, Professor Mayaw Kumfi, and then also Mr. Asamoah, who was a CEO. Then we have the Eduboine case, which has started with 4 accused persons, now 3. In that case, there are 4 witnesses. The second prosecution witness is almost done with her testimony. Then we have the NSC, National Service. There are 3 strands of the NSC. One is on Gifty, I forgot his name. Owari. Yeah, Gifty Owari.
Owari Mensah.
Owari Mensah. That case is in court. We are at the case management conference stage, that's CMC stage of that. Then we have NSC, Asibi, Asibi,
Yes.
who was I think the director. Yeah. Also at the CMC stage. Then we have the one that involved the other people that's the vendors. That is on the docketing stage. That is, we are trying to put together a docket for that. We're almost done. And then after docketing, we proceed to court. Then we have the Chamawuntumi line of cases, which are 3 as of now. And I can see my Leonard Senior, who is counsel to Chamawuntumi, smiling.
You're talking about Andy Apiakubi.
Yes, I don't know about Andy.
You have 3 cases against Chamawuntumi.
Yeah, currently.
Which cases are those?
So the first one had to do with the Nimre Forest Reserve, where he's standing trial for mining without authorization in the forest reserve.
Okay.
Then we have one which he has assigned or given mining rights in a concession which he had to another person without authorization.
I see.
Yeah, that case has 4 accused persons, and I'm happy to mention that, in that case, one of the accused persons was at large. Yeah, I think we've arrested him, and so we are going to place him before court next week.
I see.
Yeah.
You've arrested one person
Who was at large.
in the second case against Chamawuntumi.
Yeah. He was at large since we started the case. We couldn't find him, but we arrested him last week, and he's in custody. He's been granted a police bail. Next week, we are going to arrange him before the courts. Then we have the latest Wuntumi case, I think the one where forgery of a receipt.
The Wuntumi Farms one.
Farms, yeah, that as well.
Okay.
Then we have buffer stock. Buffer stock, that's a Hanan case where we have 4 accused persons. Hanan, his company, and his wife. That case we are starting trial next week at the High Court. Then we have the drip equipment case. In the drip equipment, we are using a multiple front to recover the money. So there's a tax aspect of it, tax evasion aspect of it, which the GRA has done this investigation and given us an assessment of how much taxes have been evaded. We stand at, I think, 22 million Ghana cedis on that. Apart from the tax evasion case, there's an overpricing aspect of it. The overpricing runs around 80 million cedis.
Well, the company in question came out to contest that overpricing that you talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that statement.
Yeah, I saw it, but
they don't even know where you are coming from with
yeah,
this.
I understand the company. I mean, I understand either by way of ignorance of what is at stake or near mischief, because we have, and I believe it's more of mischief because the company itself has written to the GRA saying that we want to return some of the equipment that's in respect of which they evaded tax.
The GA plant pool?
Yes, they have written a letter to GRA indicating clearly that they want to return some of the equipment.
They want to return some of the drip equipment?
Some of the equipment, so this is the...
So,
what
do you mean?
So there is a list of equipment that government, imported.
Right.
And government was supposed to, government gave tax waivers for those equipment. It so happened that more equipment than the number that government, requested were imported and the tax waiver was applied to them. And so currently the assessment shows that about 22 million Ghana cedis is what is involved. And we believe it's even more. So we've asked the GRA to do further investigation to be sure of what the amount is. That is just one aspect of the drip. There's another aspect of allegation of what? Overpricing. And then there's one of which the company, I think, described as clerical error. $2 million just been put on the price without any justification.
It's a clerical error.
Yeah, but we hold a different view on that.
What's your view?
And our view is that it was intentional.
It was intentional that the $2 million was put in there. Was money paid? Was that amount?
Yeah, the money has been paid.
The $2 million they describe as a clerical error was paid?
Yes, it was paid. So in fact, and at the point, there were communications between the company with the proposal of returning the money as well. So these are, that is the drip. Then we have the Apalu case, which my boss announced the previous weeks. Yeah. So these are some of the cases that are currently in court.
I see, but some of the cases were not captured in the oral preparatory team's report.
Yes,
so you're talking about the NSB and then all of this. The Hanan.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, Hanan was not in the. I think no, buffer stock was part of the report. But sometimes when the report mentions, the report can be very vague. And when you conduct the investigation, you will notice that instead of say buffer stock, there's something else. And even though someone has brought an issue about buffer stock, further investigation will show that the issue the person brought is not really the issue, and then something else is what the issue may be. And there are some of the cases which were not part of the report at all. For example, the Kwabena Edubahim case on the National Security Equipment Signals Bureau was not part of the. All right, and so it was a case which was identified and commenced by the executive director of IOCO, when he assumed office.
I see. I'm going to come to that particular case because it's been playing out in a very interesting way in court. Because one of your witnesses, the prosecution witnesses, is said to have given testimony against you. We'll come to that in a bit while we go on. But you described this oral preparatory team's report that captured the 2,417 complaints as not without evidence, and you explain why.
Yeah.
But then the committee put a figure to how much we can recover, right, from these cases they've captured. In fact, it's just 59 out of the lot that they have captured in the report. They say some $21 billion could be recovered from the 59 of the many cases in there. Is it one that you agree with? Is it feasible? Should we expect that money?
No, I don't think we should expect to recover that. And let me explain why. Like I said, these are complaints. And in normal life experience, someone can make an allegation of, say, that you've done something, you've stolen 10 million. Investigation may show that you stole actually more or less, or probably nothing at all. So let me give you an example. So if someone comes to say that a contract has been signed, okay, and the contract sum is 10 million cedis. Now, for maybe the construction of a school building at a particular place, what we found out in some of the investigative cases was that someone is aware of this contract, that it has been signed.
Right.
He goes to the site where the school is supposed to be built, and there's no school there. Now, the person is alarmed and says that, look, a contract of 10 million has been signed to build a school. 5 years down the line, there's no school there. So I believe 10 million has been stolen, right? But that is not stealing 10 million. It could be that the contract was signed, but no mobilization was given at all. It could also be that the money was paid in tranches and that only 1 million was paid and not the 10 million. So the investigation will reveal all this. That is why I believe that, and we found instances where this scenario that I've painted happened, which means that then it will reduce the amount. And indeed, we found other situations where the amount was a bit more than what the complaint contained.
I see.
Yeah.
So you're saying we've been given false hopes? in this 21 billion that we were told that could be recovered from the oral?
No, I wouldn't describe it as false hope. I think the investigative committee was clear in the nature of their work.
Yes.
And they were not confused at all. They knew that what they were receiving were complaints.
True.
And they knew that such complaints, I mean, there were how
We
many...
were told how much we're going to get. 21 billion.
Yes, so based on the report, I mean, the compilation, the complaints that they compiled, they have given an estimate. But the committee members are aware that their report was subject to criminal or forensic investigation to confirm or refute some of the allegations therein. So I think the estimate that was given should be taken within the context of the fact that there will be further investigation which may confirm or refute some of the allegations.
So meaning what? We could get lesser than what we were told, the 21 billion.
Yes, that is what I mean.
I see. This actually leads to the heightened expectations that people have of oral. Would you agree that because of some of these statements you made about how much we could get from oral and the fact that you're going to hit the ground running, people had heightened expectations of oral with the promise to immediately throw people into jail when you take office, and it's been 1 year on and nothing is happening? Would you agree?
I just told you the number of things that are happening,
Yes.
so it is not actually correct when you say nothing is happening.
In terms of...
Yeah, because I've just outlined some of the things that are happening and the advanced stage of some of the cases and the volumes of investigations that have gone on and are still going on. So maybe, like you said, it is possible that expectations are not being met, but I can tell you when it comes to the realities on the ground, we really are moving faster than any regime in terms of pursuing these accountability issues.
As if you're moving faster than any regime. What do you mean?
What I mean is that if you look at when we started prosecuting and the speed at which some of the cases are going, considering the systemic issues of slow justice delivery, legal vacation will take some part of it, and then we are currently in another vacation, which will mean that next week we are going back to the court, and the issues of judges being overloaded with cases and all the systemic issues. If you compare with any other regime's pursuit of accountability, we are far ahead of them. That is not to say that the people's expectations are illegitimate. Those are legitimate expectations because these people have lived the realities of this country. They have seen some of the things that have been done in terms of public funds in this country. And they really expect, and they have believed in the legal system. They know that you could do certain things within a certain period of time.
Sure.
But they also understand, and I believe a lot of people understand, that we are in a democracy, we are running a rule of law system, and you cannot just merely...
It is on the
based
basis
suspicion.
of that if you sold oral to the people as a red-hot policy.
It is.
That when you get in, because of the kind of evidence that, in fact, the presentations
the
that the
complaints
preparatory team put out, it was as though, you're going to secure convictions within a short period. And then you're talking about the systemic issues now. So if you are aware of the nuances in our jurisprudence, which could impact on how speedy you get trial, how then do you create the impression as though that oral was going to just quickly get people convicted and put into jail?
Alfred, did you at any point in time, personally, did you at any point in time believe that we could just arrest people and dump them in jail? I don't think you believe that. And I don't think anyone actually believed that. I think everyone believed that or knew and understood that we're going to try the people, we're going to investigate people, we're going to gather evidence, we're going to go through all the processes that I've mentioned, and we're going to put people before competent court of competent jurisdiction, and also try as much as we can to put them to let them have their day in court.
I see.
Yeah. So I don't think that the people are.
Wait, let's go on. Yes, I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So that's the point I was trying to make. That
I see. No, I asked this question based on the fact that, prior to this oral kicking in, you had people share their views about when they expect people to be incarcerated or convicted, for that matter. And the fact that if you know about, you mentioned how long trials can take and the nuances in there.
And how fast we have gone so far.
And how
as well.
fast you have gone so far as well. Would you say that you didn't paint that picture to the people when you were promising oral, that you know what, yes, we want speedy trials and convictions, but then there are some systemic issues which could delay convictions for a long period of time, and some cases could run longer than people expect, and so be patient?
We promise to put in place certain institutional, mechanisms so that these cases will be fast. So we talk of the tribunal system, for instance, and the tribunal bill is in the works.
Right.
And if the tribunal bill passes through, it will definitely, facilitate the process. Yeah, facilitate the process. And then the tribunal system will facilitate the what is happening.
Right, I can hear you.
Yeah, the tribunal system will facilitate the process. And then apart from the tribunal system, we are in the process of having the afternoon courts as well, which I believe will kick off in a few weeks. We'll have the 24-hour court system where you have morning court and you have afternoon court. The Ghana Bar Association has agreed to that policy, and the Chief Justice, Honorable Chief Justice, is going to announce how far that policy will, when the policy will start. So I believe when these processes and institutional changes are put in place, definitely we'll move faster than we are moving. But as it stands now, like I said, we are as fast as the system allows us to be, and indeed faster than any other system that we've had.
Let me get this. You're going to introduce the tribunals, and you have morning courts, afternoon courts as well.
Indeed.
And what role is the tribunals exactly going to play in this oral prosecution?
No, so the tribunal system, first of all, because they don't have any case load at the moment, a panel hearing a case will move faster than the usual court system. Then the afternoon court is going to open up another layer of court. So instead of having a court just hear cases in the morning and the rest of the day not being heard, we are going to have a situation where the court will hear cases in the morning and also hear cases in the afternoon, different judges coming in to be afternoon judges.
Right.
We believe that this will indeed facilitate the process. So let me just make the point that we promise the people we are going to move fast. We promise them certain institutional changes as well. These changes are in the works. And as I mentioned, they are coming to, they will start soon. And once they start, we believe that the speed that the people expect will be met. But as it stands now, we have indeed moved. How many cases? I mentioned a number of over 10 cases right now involving deep investigations and trials.
I see. Now, if you talk about deep investigations, there have been concerns about, in fact, even before we got in, somebody said you have had more press conferences than convictions or even prosecutions, for that matter, from your boss, the Attorney General.
That my boss has done what?
More press conferences than convictions or prosecutions.
My boss has done, of course, my boss has done 4 press conferences, I think 5 press conferences since he came to office.
How many convictions?
In a year. Alfred, conviction cannot be compared to press conferences. They have nothing in common. So, and there will be a time where you have more conclusion of trials or conviction, and there will not be any press conferences. So press conferences are meant to share information to the public, to keep the public aware of what their mandate is being used for. And let's not accept the claim or the allegation that press conferences to inform the people, to update the people on the mandate of the government is a bad thing. And we should not. Alfred, how many times have I come to your studio since I assumed office? How many times have you spoken to my boss?
A couple of times, yes.
On air, since he came to office. I don't think you've spoken to my boss even this whole period that he was in office. So if the impression
Just once, actually.
So if the impression is created as if There's just press conferences.
And you see, the issue that was raised about the press conference was not so much about how many, about he doing it, but how some of the issues were put out. So that, for instance, he addresses a press conference that he tags Rumble in the Jungle, Thriller in Manila, and the way and manner in which the information is put out, it's as though it is a done deal that the persons who are mentioned in there or involved have been convicted already, and they are ready to be thrown in jail. And that, for instance, if he says there's no way he cannot secure convictions with some of the statements he makes or the things he puts out in public, and that he doesn't see how the court would overlook such evidence as he puts out in the public, is that not, he already prejudging the cases in the court of public opinion?
I think for a prosecutor, I don't know any prosecutor who is acting in good faith who would go to court and say that I don't believe I have conviction. The very action of filing charges is indicative of the fact that the prosecutor believes that he's going to be successful. So the Attorney General saying that he's going to be successful in the cases that he has put before the court is just the normal and the proper thing to say and to do when you put a case before a court. So it is a situation we have. I think as a country, we need to make a choice whether we want to run public office without transparency, without letting the public know what is going on, or we want the public to know what is going on. And my boss's policy has been to, as much as he can, keep the public updated on everything, even in situations where the law says that he's not bound to give explanation and give reasons. He has chosen to give reasons and subject himself to public scrutiny. So persons who think that my boss is doing something untoward, indeed, that is the public scrutiny he decided to subject himself to. And we don't have any qualms at all with anyone who thinks that he's having too many press conferences. It is, he knew the consequence of what he's doing, and he's ready to proceed, because that is the policy decision he has made, to keep the public updated.
And this is what Atachian described this as. You've done heavy publicity. Your case against, for instance, his client is simply weak, and that you are over-advertising the cases, and the evidential support in the court of competent jurisdiction is anemic.
His words, with all due respect, far depart from they are far removed from the reality. Because you brought him up, I believe I'm entitled to speak about it.
Yes, I just quoted what he said to you.
His words are contrary to what he himself does.
What do you mean?
He grants interview on his way to the court, on the staircase. And then after court, in between trial, he grants interview to the media. And after court, he grants interview. He often misinforms the public.
What do you mean Atachian misinformed the public?
I have several instances where he has done that. So, for example, you were going to ask about something about a witness giving evidence.
Yes, apart from the fact that it says you are over-dramatizing, that you are prosecuting people and you are doing very little. It says it's razzmatazz that you are engaged in the public speech. But it's extremely
he has
difficult
a job to do. He has
to
a job
prove
to
that
do.
you have a case in court.
No, he has a job to do. He is to defend his client in court. He has chosen an additional job, which is to also serve as the public spokesperson for his clients. And I will respect the job he has chosen to do, and I have no further comment on it. But just the fact that he has been organizing press statements and press conferences at least twice every court attendance. He organizes one when he's going to court. When he comes out, he speaks to the press, which is entirely within his right to do. But for him to say that someone else is advertising a case when he is doing it more than any other person, that is where I see a bit of contradiction.
You referenced his case and what he has said. And there's one, Madam Edith Ruby Opokua Edumwa.
Yeah.
This person is your prosecution witness.
Yeah, witness.
And the head of finance at the National Signals Bureau.
Precisely.
She is reported to have delivered what has been described as a bombshell testimony, contradicting your case. And in fact, revealing that there was no state BNC and no $7 million contract, raising serious questions about the validity of the charges that you are putting up against Kwabena Dubois.
No, I am the prosecutor in that case. I lead the prosecution team. Our allegation our allegation in the court are simply that his client has found a way of taking as much as 7 million, 49 million cedis from public accounts into his private account and spend them at will. That's the allegation. Now, the issue about forex, exchange and all that is neither here nor there. The money, the gentleman, the money we are accusing of stealing was stolen in cedis. So, and we charge, if you look at the charge, the amount was in cedis. So what does that got to do with any forex? It's not as if he stole dollars and we are trying to convert the dollars into cedis. So, you see, when you are in court and you are cross-examining a witness and you decide to go on irrelevant tangent and the witness says something which excites your bosom and you want to put it out, you are entitled to do so. But to say that because the person, you ask questions about forex, the money was stolen in cedis and the charge sheet contains cedis. So of what relevance is the forex issue to foreign exchange or exchange rates to the accusation?
So he asked a question. In your work as head of the finance of NSB, there were moments you personally arranged monies from private sources for operational purpose. Edith Ruby Opoku-Agyemang says no. When questions about her knowledge of currency exchange, the witness confirmed. And Atachia followed that as accountant, you have a clear understanding of foreign exchange rates. She says yes. She goes on to give details about the documents covering the period from January 2022 to 31st December 2020 and how that impacts or contradicts some of the issues that you were putting across. And you say that what he's saying is not...
Yeah, I mean...
And that this witness statement did not do any damage to your case.
I just told you, it would have been a different case if probably he stole dollars and we did a conversion of the dollars into cedis and said that this is how much it will be. But the man is accused of stealing cedis, Ghana cedis. And then the charge sheet contained Ghana cedis, the amount he stole, which were all backed by checks and bank transfer. So if you decide to go on a tangent of talking about exchange rates, and you and the witness, we allow you to have your day with the witness and say whatever you want to say, tell me, how does that, affect the issue of the money you have stolen? Another example was the issue of what? Big Ghana must go back, The allegation is that your own associates, who your driver said that, look, I used to carry money in Big Ghana must go back for you. And then you are cross-examining another witness and you ask the witness, is it normal to carry money in Big Ghana must go back? And the witness says yes. How do you come to tell the public that because the witness said that it's normal to carry money in Ghana and Big Ghana must go back, then you have won your case? So the point I'm trying to make is that we have restrained ourselves, and personally I have restrained myself from commenting on cases that I do and granting interviews after court. I have not done that. But if lawyers come and they are granting interview, I think we should take their interview in the context of their own understanding of the case. That is the lawyer's understanding of the case. And it's good to always have a court reporter who will give you a version of the case of what happened in court. I have been in court where an accused person who has been accused of giving, how do we call it, a concession to someone without the authorization of the minister, right? Now, he applied for disclosures for the authorization, for evidence of transfer, specifically mentioning that he wants a transfer deed.
Right.
We told the court that there is no transfer deed. In fact, the accusation itself is that you did the transfer without proper documentation and proper process. Now, the lawyers went from court and said they are winning the case because the Attorney General has admitted not having evidence. As to how that converts to lack of evidence, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we know and understand. I have been a defense counsel all my life. This is my first time of prosecution.
I see.
And we know and we understand how defense counsel sometimes want to do their cases. And we respect that. But there's no way I will accept anything which says that the case is weak and based on what they are reporting.
The references Madam Edith Opokwa Edomo's testimony. It didn't do any damage to
it has no relevance to the issue in the trial.
I see.
Absolute zero relevance.
Would you be surprised if some of the cases that you are prosecuting now goes beyond 2028?
I wouldn't say no, because in a criminal trial, like any other trial, things come up. Defense have their own defense strategy. The court system has its own, every judge has its own strategy, and prosecution has its own strategy. By our own estimation, the cases that are in works now should be over by the end of this year. If in any situation it happens that the case goes beyond that, it definitely would have to be something that we can contend with. But that is the nature of criminal trial. I mean,
it's not a walk in the park, yes.
No, it's never a walk in the park, and you cannot.
The threshold is high, proof beyond reasonable doubt.
We are aware of that, and we take that into account.
So then, how do you intend to convince the people who are watching you right now, who had those high hopes and expectations of oral, that, you know what, because of what we have in our criminal jurisprudence, some of these cases will go beyond 2028.
No, I did not say that the cases will go.
Saying if,
you asked me that, would I be surprised?
You say it's possible. It could be.
You asked me if I would be surprised if some of the cases go beyond 2028. And I'm telling you that by our plan, the cases that are in court, the cases that I've mentioned to you, should end by this year. However, if by any occurrence the cases go to beyond 2028, I have explained why it can go beyond 2028, but that is not to say that it is part of our trial plan that the cases will go beyond 2028. If I show you that every court before starting trial will give you a plan, the number of hours that each witness will spend, the number of days that, so as of now, we have the days that the prosecution will conclude its evidence in all the cases that we have started, because that happens at CMC. That is why I'm telling you that by the end of this year, we would have ended, the cases. But the fact that you have a trial plan, which is adopted by the prosecution, the judge, and the defense at the beginning of the trial, we have seen situations where it could go beyond that. So I'm speaking to you about the trial plans that we have, and I'm saying that by the end of this year, these cases would have ended. Either whichever way, it would have ended.
Well, we've had Attorney General talk about reaching some sort of agreement with some of these persons who serve as prosecution witnesses, and what goes into those kinds of what he describes as deals, because it is somewhat misunderstood.
Yes, so I think the word deal in Ghana connotes some underhand dealing, as if there's something wrong. But when we say plea deal or plea bargain, so you do plea bargaining, and at the end of the bargain, you arrive at a deal. So that is the sense in which we use plea deal. Some of and you have noticed that we have converted some of the accused persons to now become witnesses for the prosecution.
Okay.
And some of the people were not actually charged, but from the beginning they have agreed to be witnesses for the prosecution. That is as a result of plea bargaining in accordance with the plea bargaining law, which says that you may enter non-prosecution agreements with persons that have been accused or have been suspects of crimes. Some said you could actually, during the trial, you could stop the process and then negotiate a plea and come to a conclusion. Right. A plea can lead to conviction. It can lead to non-prosecution agreement. These are all possibilities that the law provides. So that is what we call plea deal. But deal does not mean that you are going to do something to underhand to cut a deal in the sense that So when we say we have arrived at a deal, we mean after plea bargaining, we have arrived at a plea deal.
No, reference was made to what your General Secretary said, that he has knowledge that some persons were cutting deals with people who were supposed to be prosecuted.
Well, I did not understand the General Secretary to say that people were cutting deals. I think his concern, if I recall very well, was that he is hearing that some people intend to come and cut deals. And deals as in not the plea deal, but to do underhand dealing and go scot-free. I do not have access to such information, and I'm not aware of anybody.
Has anything of the sort happened?
No one has approached me, and I'm not aware that anyone has approached my boss. If they have, he has not told me. I'm not aware of anybody approaching anyone to do any underhand dealing. What I'm aware of is people, suspects and accused persons trying to take advantage of the opportunity that law has granted them to have a plea bargain and also arrive at a plea deal.
Quite a number of the messages I'm getting. Just to remind our viewers, I'll read them. My guests, that's Nasir Rosin Dafiamepo, is the Majority Chief Whip. Also, Andy Apiakubi, whom you mentioned, is counsel to one of the persons you are prosecuting.
My very good senior, a noble practitioner.
Martin Pebu as well are going to be joining us in a bit as we go on to also get into the matters, and Dr. Joshua Zato as well. So stay with us, and I'll read the messages as they come through. And I want to go quickly into Ken Ofori-Atta. Okay. This week, we got information about his detention in the Caroline Detention Center in Virginia. How did this news get to you?
So let me say at the beginning of this that when it comes to fugitive of justice or fugitive from justice, the person who is running away from justice, the fundamental rule when it comes to two states dealing with each other is that no person, apart from citizens, no person has the right to remain in another person's country. Mm-hmm. So an extradition, that's the process of extradition that we know as a result of extradition treaty, is not the only way that a person will be removed from one country and surrendered to another country. Right. So we need to draw two lines here. The formal extradition process mm-hmm. and other ways of getting a fugitive to come back home, other lawful ways of getting a fugitive to come back home. What we have been dealing with over the period has been more focused on what? Extradition.
Yes.
Right. But there are other ways of getting a fugitive to arrive in the country. We have been doing our best to ensure that anyone who has run away from accountability and justice is brought to book. Mm-hmm. I told you that we arrested someone recently who was at large, and those are the processes that we have done.
So was the person out of the country?
Yeah, the person was out of the country.
The one who has just been arrested?
Yes, and now he's here.
Which country was he?
It was in the, I think, United States.
So the U.S. authorities helped you to arrest this person?
I won't give the details.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because, like I said, extradition is not the only process. So,
okay, great.
Now to
okay,
now to the former finance minister. As at June 2025, that's last year, mm-hmm. his visa got revoked. I know I've seen statements from people who said the visa expired.
I see. So as of June 2025, his visa was revoked.
Revoked. So it's not a question of expiration of visa.
No. So explain that, because there's some information about his visa expiring in February 2026. That's 14 February. I spoke to Manasseh a couple of days ago.
Take it for me.
That.
Take it for me.
Explain what you mean.
The information we have from authentic sources is that his visa was revoked in 2025, June 2025. So he's been living in America without a visa, let me put it that way, for all this while.
Since June 2025?
That is the information we have.
His visa was revoked?
Yes.
So
it is not everything I can put to you, but it is just surprising that we have information from people out there, some purporting to be formal information, which is completely contrary to what the reality is.
Which is what, for instance?
Which is that visa did not expire.
True.
Visa got revoked.
That's what some of his persons who speak for him have been saying.
Precisely. So I'm saying that apart from extradition, mm-hmm. there are other ways of making sure that persons
come into the country.
Exactly.
So this is one of them.
And the Attorney General's office is exploring every possible avenue of having anyone who has run away from the Republic to be returned to accountability. And we will succeed.
You will succeed. You're making this emphatic statement on television today that you will succeed.
We will use every possible legal means to bring anyone who is running away from justice in this country.
Including Ken Ofori-Atta?
Yes.
Did his detention at the Virginia Center have anything to do with you, the Attorney General's office?
If you can explain your question, because we don't have any extraterritorial powers to arrest people and detain them in Virginia, we cannot.
Did the U.S. Did the U.S. authorities take into consideration your request?
I don't know what they took into consideration in arresting and detaining him, but the information we have is what I've told you, that it is ICE will not come for you unless you have visa issues.
Sure.
So that is what has happened.
And did this detention, you had already put out an extradition request to the U.S.
That is,
correct?
yeah, that is one way of getting. So we are using, like I mentioned,
which was going to take a longer period.
Yeah.
If you have to go through the process. And for 6 months, between June and December, ICE did not catch him until last week. What happened?
That's what happened.
Did the U.S. collaborate with you in any way?
No,
Did they
I mean,
give you some
the United States
information?
law enforcement agencies have been our long-standing partners, and recently you've seen that we are even doing more collaborations with the FBI and the other law enforcement agencies. So that partnership has been there,
right?
And we collaborate in so many ways. I don't need to even explain to you because you are in the media and you have seen the collaboration that we've been doing over the years. I mean, over the months. So when I say that we are doing whatever we can, look, the people of this country have elected President John Mahama to put in place mechanism for bringing people to account. It's a question of accountability. And President Mahama has taken it more seriously than anything he's doing. And we, the persons who have been appointed as ministers to do the work for the president, have no option but to take these things very seriously. And there will not be anything that will leave, any stone that will leave unturned in achieving the goal. And that's what I'm telling you, that if anyone thinks that running away to another country would be a solution to, would be a channel or a path to refuse or to refuse to subject himself to accountability. Well, not under this government. We are going to do everything within our powers, which the law allows us to do, to bring anybody back to this country. And it doesn't have to be extradition only.
Will his detention possibly lead to him being returned to Ghana?
Well, I mean, ICE, as far as I understand the processes of ICE, when you don't have a legitimate basis to remain in the United States, they arrest you, they process you using their own administrative or judicial means, and they repatriate you to your country.
His lawyers say they are contesting it. He has a petition, which is already in motion.
Well, I am not aware of any petition from his lawyers. What I'm aware of is that the ICE itself has its own mechanisms for giving hearing, administrative and judicial mechanisms. He may take advantage of that, and on the 20th of this month, there will be a preliminary hearing on that. And when that happens, depending on the outcome of what his decision is, we may have him or he may remain in the process for a bit, maybe for a few more weeks. But be that as it may, we have been given a job to do. We are committed to doing that job. And we will ensure that what the people of Ghana are entitled to, which is accountability, will be done.
I see. He has. This is what the letter from his or the notice from his lawyers read. Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta has a pending petition for adjustment of status, which authorizes a person to stay in the U.S. legally past the period of validity of their visa. Under U.S. law, a change of status by this method is common. That's what they say.
That I think makes the point. And I heard legally. So they are trying to legalize something. I believe that's what it means.
Yes.
They are trying to legalize something which otherwise would not be legal.
So they're saying that staying, that's based on staying beyond the valid period of
when you
visa
get a chance, you may speak to his lawyers who put out this. I am here as a public official, and I've given you information that I am reliably, seized of, and I'm telling you that his visa was revoked as far back as June 2025.
And say they're going to preliminary hearing of this pending petition on the 20th?
I don't know which petition they are being, it's being referred to. But you see, if the petition is a way of securing your lawful stay, the fact that law enforcement have picked someone up and have detained the person under this ICE program should tell us that there's some illegality involved. There's a criminal aspect of the matter. That's ICE is a law enforcement agency. And a law enforcement agency will not come and arrest you on civil matters. So these statements, which seek to make it look as though it's a civil matter, when the evidence on the ground suggests, indicates that law enforcement has come for you, they've detained, who detained someone if the person has not breached a law? In the United States of America, you go and arrest someone, put the person behind bars. So sometimes I wish the public is able to read in between these lines. Even in a third world country, you cannot go and arrest someone because of civil matters and detain the person and announce that I've arrested this person, I've detained him for civil matters.
I see.
So if in the United States, law enforcement agencies have arrested someone, they've put the person in detention, and you want to make it look like it's a civil matter and there's an application and there's not, then I don't know what you want to tell the people of your audience.
Well, I'm just reading the letter. You're referring to the letter from his lawyers.
Yeah, I'm saying that I don't see, if the letter admits, I have not paid attention to the details of this letter.
I've just read that part.
But I'm telling you that if the letter, you understand, or the information in the letter suggests that it's a civil matter, then it's a civil matter. Then I don't see how a civil matter will result in someone being arrested and detained.
I see. This adjustment of status, did you get that information earlier that he was trying to seek permanent stay in the United States? Because that has been suggested.
I am not aware of any information to that effect that he's trying to seek permanent stay. And if you want to seek a permanent stay, that is a civil matter, right? I am purely speaking to the law enforcement issues. So if there is any civil matter somewhere which suggests that someone, I don't know how that affects this issue, and whether it's normal or not. I am aware of the fact that the former Minister of Finance is in detention by law enforcement agencies in lawful custody. As to what civil entitlements or rights are available or privileges are available to him, when you are in detention, you cannot be in detention for a civil matter.
I see. Can this detention be taken advantage of by you, or do you intend to leverage that to speed up the process of bringing him to Ghana?
We are, like I said, we are taking advantage of everything. And it didn't start today. We have been on this from the very moment that we realized that the former minister was out of the country and was unwilling to return. So we have been doing works to make sure that he returns, and that is what we are committed to doing.
Including taking advantage of this.
So, indeed, of course. No, if you say taking advantage,
we
are involved. We are actually keenly interested and involved in this. So it's not even about to take advantage of it. We have been on this track from day one.
You've been involved in all of these matters, including...
We collaborate with law enforcement agencies from the United States on this matter.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, so for the viewers who are watching, if things go as you are expecting, Kenneth Ofori-Atta could be back to Ghana sooner than expected.
Oh, yes, sooner than expected.
See. Okay. Well, so we're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. My other guests are going to be joining me in a bit. There were questions about the update on the ECOWAS trial, that's the case at the ECOWAS that the former Chief Justice Gertrude Darabah-Sabah Tokono is there against the Republic of Ghana. The last time we heard that case was adjourned. You were ordered to file your statement. Have you done that?
Oh yeah, we have filed our statement of defense. And let me again bring something else to your attention. Where sometimes the reportage on these issues could be very interesting. As of 2 weeks ago, the Chief Justice, after we filed our defense, the Chief Justice calls his lawyers to file an amendment to a motion to amend her original case. We decided that we are not going to make public, commentaries on some of these things. But I could understand if we were amending our case, I believe it would have been a big news that we are amending our case and our case is weak. And we are seeking to remedy, as Atacha will put it, an anemic, case. But we decided that we won't comment on some of these things because when the matter is in court, we expect the process to remain within the court and we work with that.
I see. But then, if you say you're going to work with when is this case next expected to be called next?
So we don't have a date for the hearing of the motion to amend the original case. If we get a date, we would inform. We may let the public know if it's necessary, but we are resolute. Let me state here that every process that we've gone through in this removal, issue has followed the law strictly. And the court rulings, both in Ghana and the ECOWAS, are attesting to this fact that we so far we've not even one we've had about so many objections raised to this process in court, and they've all been determined in our favor, not just in Ghana but also in the ECOWAS court as well. So we don't have any fear that we follow the law and that anything will be overturned in that regard.
I see. Well, and we're live also on the Voice of London Radio in the Heart of the City of London. In fact, we have Manasseh Ajorawin is going to be joining us. It's been doing quite some work on the background on this matter of Ken Ofori-Atta. But this was the last update that the Attorney General gave at the press conference. My guests joining me right now, together with the Deputy Attorney General, who's been giving some very, very important information in the interest of the public regarding some of the issues that are at play right now. Take a listen to the Attorney General of that press conference. My guests will be joining me right now.
On December 10, 2025, my office transmitted the complete request to the Minister of Foreign Affairs for onward transmission to the competent authorities in the United States of America. That is, in this case, the Department of Justice of the United States. At this point, it is left to the American authorities, especially the judicial authorities, to make a determination on whether a sufficient basis exists for the two accused persons to be extradited to Ghana to stand trial. Basically, what I want Ghanaians to know is that this government is committed to accountability. And the government has taken the requisite steps that are legally required for the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta and Ernest Darko Akore to be extradited to Ghana, to be brought to Ghana to face justice. As I indicated earlier, it is now left to the judicial authorities in the United States to assess the entire package that we have presented to find out whether there is sufficient basis for him to.
That's the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine there. His deputy, that is Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai, is with us in the studio. Also joining me right now is Nelson Roxon Dapiamepo, is Majority Chief Whip in this 9th Parliament, the Member of Parliament for the people of South Dai. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. He's also a private legal practitioner. Also joining us is the Honorable Andy Apiakobi, is former MP for Asante Achim North and also a private legal practitioner. In fact, the counsel for Chairman Wontumi, as you heard the Deputy Attorney General reference. The Honorable Andy Apiakobi, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you, my brother, for inviting me.
Oh, great.
A very good morning to my people in Asante Achim North, and of course to my client, who has been discussed variously here.
Well, we actually didn't discuss your client that much into detail, but we referenced him. Yes,
the inferences were all pointing to him. So
okay,
we're taking notice of that.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Also joining us is today. I want to call him Rabbi because of how he is dressed.
Sheikh. Oh my God! It's
Sheikh.
a poor Sheikh.
Can you be sure about that?
That's a good description.
Martin has been rich for a very long time.
So Sheikh
Koboles.
Sheikh Martin Luther Kpebu.
Yes. Today,
Today-
add Mohammed.
Mohammed. Today you want me to call you Mohammed?
Yeah, exactly. Both. Mohammed Suleiman and Martin Luther Kpebu.
Oh,
Yes, morning, Mr. Kaiser.
Thank
It is
you
good
for
to
joining.
be here.
What inspired this dressing today?
Oh, I've learned that our viewers are always looking for change. So, they say one thing that is constant in life is what? Change.
Indeed.
So, I haven't come here for some years now. I'm beginning to learn the rudiments of the game that brings something new each time.
Interesting.
So, exactly, it creates a bit of
Excitement.
Exactly. So small. At first, I used to get irritated that do I come here to talk? Do you want to listen to what I have to say or how I look? But after some
It's not
years,
part of the communication.
exactly, exactly. So now I'm learning the rudiments. Yes. Okay. So people of Ghana, thank you.
I
Thank
see.
you for making this program the greatest, the best, unparalleled, uncontested. Everything rolled into one. Thank you. You make this program rock.
And
As usual,
Yes.
I want to thank Togbe Afede. Yes, Togbe stood up when Okufuado was maltreating us, misgoverning us, but Togbe Afede stood up and showed how the governance was poor. Yes, the same was done by Sofa Ekufu, who we have nicknamed Yasantua, Domahini, Ose Adeyo Ajimambedu the second, and then Garmanche Kentucky Tekuchru the second, right? The list is endless. And of course, you the good people of Ghana, right? Yeah,
Right.
Except that we just hope that in this current administration, we'll ramp up the protests. So far, so good. But it doesn't mean that we should, start patting ourselves on the back and go to sleep. No, we have to be very vigilant. The administration needs our support, right? And then also, want to mention the case of the 52.5 billion that the Auditor General said he will explain. Johnson Esiedu, you said you will explain where this money went. That money that left the GCB account to unknown sources. Over 4 years now, Auditor General is not able to explain. This cannot continue,
Right.
okay? And then, last but not the least, men above 40, please.
Yes.
Your prostate health, please. Keep checking. And if you haven't checked before, please, take steps. We don't want to lose you needlessly. Oh.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
No, it's important. Thank you for this. And quite we got some notice sometime within the week commending you for consistently saying this particular
Yes.
one. So thank you for so much, Council. And I start off from where the Deputy Attorney General ended about the latest on Ken Ofori-Atta and the fact that based on the updates today, all things being equal, he may be brought back into Ghana earlier than expected. That's what the Deputy Attorney General has told us. This detention that we're hearing this week and how things are playing out right now. I'll start off with you, Lawyer Nelson Rossi Dakar, on this latest with Ken Ofori-Atta and what the Deputy Attorney General has just told us this morning.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yes. Let me seize the opportunity to say Happy New Year to yourself,
Thank you.
my brother DAG, Shremsai, Doc, my senior in Parliament and at the bar. The venerable,
show us the
the venerable. Oh no! Who abandoned that path? Let me show you a new one. You know that a man sponsored his removal from Parliament. Today he's become the savior of the man. Are you aware?
Yeah, you mentioned it a bit.
Yes.
I see.
And Happy New Year to you, my. The whole nation says now that you are my most revered friend.
You saved me.
Yeah.
You saved me. Now I see the friendship.
And to my constituents in Pekik, Palik, Kwevetongo. It's beautiful to be here once more. The first time this year.
But this
Look.
accusation without evidence.
No.
You are the evidence.
Gentlemen, hold on.
You are the
Please.
material evidence.
Let's-
Yes.
Thank you.
So, look, we should commend the AGs for the very quiet steps that they are taking. I think that sometimes that's what it takes. The very quiet steps that yield results. But look, today we know the address for service for Ofori-Atta. Do you know his address? You don't know his address for service. He has two addresses. One in the US and one is Minka Premo here. They've been defending this man to the extent that the minority leader and the entire minority caucus came to parliament to assure the entire nation. Recall when National Security conducted some exercise, went to his home.
Yes.
They won't let us sleep in this country.
Yes.
They haven't heard some before that somebody's home could be, a person could be, searched. John Jinapong, as the Minister for Energy as he is now, then ranking for energy, his home was searched. Dr. Comrade Donko, his home was searched. Collins Dauda, were in opposition. When we raised it, they said we should keep quiet. We were not above the law.
Yes.
But suddenly, when national security operatives went to search the home of Oforiatta, they say, no, it was unconstitutional and all that, and that we were hounding him, we were infringing on his fundamental rights. So they brought this matter to the floor. To the extent that the minority leader assured the entire nation that at a certain point in July last year, because the matter was raised sometime March or April. Now, no, it was in February.
February.
And that Oforiatta will return to defend himself before the court. And we all agreed.
Yes.
And went quiet on the matter. So it was social media and bloggers who were now reckoning. There was 30 days to the deadline, 15 days to the deadline. The day the deadline came, the whole nation became aware. They couldn't produce Oforiatta. We saw pictures of him in the streets of some city in the States. So, for me, it's about probity and accountability. Me, tomorrow, I am willing to subject myself for my role in public office. Nobody should be above reproach when your service is reviewed. You are supposed to account for your tenure in office. Do you remember this man, Kwame Pepra? Do you remember him?
Yeah. Former Minister of Finance.
Who took over from the venerable Dr. Kwesi Botwe?
Right.
Yes. The former president, then as an attorney general, he asked him to account for his tenure as Minister of Finance for 4 years. I think he did 3.5 years because Kwesi Botwe was changed. It's been some time. I don't know whether during the second term of Jerry Rawlings or after a couple of months into his second term before Kwesi Botwe went away and then Kwame Pepra came in. But it was in 97 when he took over.
Yes.
Until 2001.
Yes.
And the deputy, Victor Salome, was the deputy to Kwesi Botwe for a long time. They were asked to account. They didn't abscond from the jurisdiction. They stayed. To the extent that, look, there's a certain write-up. I have to show it to you. I printed it and hid it somewhere. Victor Salome, it got to a stage, the man who was like his chaperone, who was bringing him to court, it got to a stage one day he vomited blood in court. But practically with oxygen masks over his nose. But he had to stay in court. I'm not the one saying it, but the person who took him to court, who accompanied him, who was taking him on in wheelchair and all that, he was in severe medical distress. But the judge demanded that I wanted to see him that day. All this we've lived through. Today, Kwame Pepra went to jail and he's come back. He's part of the NDC stock. He's part of our Council of Elders. And Oforiatta, you say you shouldn't account for your stewardship. No. You will account. Others accounted for it. You will account. So, these tactics won't fly. But I want to assure DAG, or I want to let him know that DAG now, if you have any matter in court against Oforiatta, you know his service address for service. We know it. Minka Premo is defending him. They've just issued a public notice. So they've been acting for him all this while. get the court order that they can be served through a substituted order.
That's better.
Yes.
Okay.
So he can be. You see, the intent of the court in all matters is notice. That's the essence of service. That the party must be brought into notice of a matter pending before him, against him, or in his favor. So when we say somebody should be served, you remember the day we argued with the OSP chap about criminal summons?
Yes, yes.
And he disagreed.
Yes.
I showed him the law, he won't agree. Eventually, they went the route that I...
That's why we suspect they were delaying to give
Yes.
Ofori-Atta more
Eventually,
time.
they issued a criminal summons. So issuing criminal summons without without inviting a person to a police station, taking his caution statement and his charge statement, all is possible.
Yes.
In fact, that is only one alternative.
Yes.
Right.
The prosecutorial body can actually charge you with a crime without inviting you to a police station.
Yes.
They will serve you with the criminal summons.
I see, and now we are hearing that the kind of Ofori-Atta could be brought in earlier than expected. According
Oh,
to
those are the tertiary steps
Okay.
that they've taken. But the fundamental ones were the one we were talking about. This could have been done much earlier.
Right.
Serve the man with a criminal summons. And use other means to bring that to his attention. Once he has the notice of that, you are good to go. A lot of trials have been done in absentia of accused persons. A lot. And convictions have been had in the process. So I will urge Ofori-Atta to abandon all these tactics. We've all been defense attorneys before.
I see.
We abandon these tactics. He should come home and deal with the issues. After all, prosecution doesn't mean conviction. So come and you have a phalanx of lawyers at your disposal. And Andy Appiah-Kubi is here. Once upon a time, your paths were not crossing, but now you can engage him. He's a very formidable lawyer.
Yes, after asking that he be removed.
You remember the 98?
Yeah, the 98.
He championed the 98.
That was a different agenda.
No. But they were contiguous to a purpose.
Yes.
I see.
So I am saying that Ken, you see, as part of our governance process, he should submit himself to due diligence.
I see.
And let us look into the issue.
The matters.
He may be prosecuted or he may not be prosecuted. But by all means, come. But once you stay away, it gives people the opportunity to be more convinced that then there's something, you did something untoward.
Okay.
Then you have something to hide.
Well, you're
in
not on the
process.
Appiah-Kubi. Now that we're knowing that he's been detained because he's actually been living in the United States illegally for the past 6 months.
He left Ghana on the 6th of January. That was a very. In fact, when I checked, it was such a fortuitous date to depart the shores of this
Let me
country.
acknowledge the presence of Dr. Joshua Zato as well. Is joining us. I earlier indicated
My
he's gonna be
ex-friend.
joining. Doc, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning to you and good morning to this panel of esteemed members.
Especially your
Happy New Year to all
Many
of
happy
you.
returns.
I was on campus with Honorable. All of a sudden, he has left us behind. He's now
Yes, he's on secondment.
a very big man. Something.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year to all those who are watching. There was a song that says 24 of Koukurum. So I went to my kurum
Polythene bag.
for Christmas with a bulletin bag.
And now you are back.
And I went to spend the Christmas. When I went, it was a sad Christmas. It was a bad Christmas.
We'll get to that.
Usually, no, I
What
mean,
do-
you always
so
give
that
us
we don't-
2
we
minutes to
don't
also do that.
Zato.
Let me also do my small.
In fact,
Let me also talk small.
in a
Just
minute.
1 minute. It's good like that. Usually, this time, Tumu and the whole of Sisala land is bustling. Young
Okay.
farmers and everybody, they've sold maize. They are buying new motorbikes, new clothing. They are building new houses, and they are marrying new wives. So, because usually this time there's a lot of money in
Like
their
you
pockets.
just married.
There's always a lot of money in their pockets. But this time it is sad.
Okay.
Last year's maize cannot be sold because the prices are just collapsed. It used to be around 600. It has now come to 300 even. And secondly, you cannot even get buyers to buy.
The dollar-
And then I've said,
the cedi is not healthy against the dollar.
Good. They think that's what you always say. Now you would think that because there's a lot of maize gloss, and you think because the price is very down, then they should what? A parallel this drop in the what? Price of what? Food. No. A ball of kenke is still 5 cedis in Tumu. It has been 5 cedis, like 5 cedis.
But if a bag of maize is 300,
a single ball of kenke is still 5 cedis in Tumu. The price has not reduced, and the size too has not increased.
When the price of a bag of maize is now half,
the farmers there are suffering. Some of them have borrowed to invest. They are looking at
verify this fact.
Some of them are looking at what a collapse, economic collapse, because they cannot pay back. And I'm praying and hoping that the government will listen. I've always told you this. Please tell the government, tell Buffer Stock, go to Salah and help this family. They are suffering. Go and help them. I always say this and I say this.
Thank you very
much. They need your help.
Thank you.
Government, help them.
Right. So, and I was coming to you, Donovan and the Apia on this. So we'll move on. We'll come to the economy matter. We'll come to the economy matter. Thank you. Now, and the Apia on the latest that we're getting to know on Ken Ofori-Atta and then also his detention, the fact that he's been living in the U.S. for 6 months illegally. His lawyers detailed the fact that he was in the process of amending his status or changing his status in the United States, and that there is a petition in motion to that effect. But this morning, what the Deputy Attorney General is telling us is that for 6 months, the man has been living in the U.S. illegally. His visa was revoked in June 2025. That's what we're getting to know this morning.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Unfortunately, I cannot side with Attorney General when he says that his visa has expired and revoked and all that, because I'm not privy to the facts. And I will also warn all of us that when we are making such allegations, let's treat them as allegations rather than treating them as positions of fact, because they may not be factual after all. Because some of the words we use here are very strong. Say he's stolen, he's done that. Well, they continue to be allegations, and 1 million allegations will not crystallize into evidence. So let us be mindful of how we throw words at persons who have not been convicted. Number 3 of the thing is that oral, to me, in terms of policy, in terms of principle, I am in support of it. And indeed, all persons, not only persons of one political party or the other, when you assume public office, you should be mindful of the fact that you should be accountable for the period that you stay in that public office. And that at any point in time, if you are called to come and account for your stewardship, it should not be difficult for you to come and do it. Because it must be a principle that all of us will have to uphold. Because you don't go to public office to amass wealth at the expense of the state. So anytime, any day, if you are called upon. But again, like my good friend said, that if allegations are thrown at you, it doesn't mean that you are guilty of the offenses being preferred against you. So for me, the best thing to do, even as an accused person or a suspect, is to come and defend yourself.
So that you are urging Ken Ofori-Atta to come home?
Of course. All you know. But again, when my good friend was discussing service, you don't need an accused person in court to start prosecution. You don't need him. Once you serve him notice of the pendency of these offenses in court, it is in his interest to come to court. Otherwise, if you decide not to come, there is a Supreme Court case that I even used recently, Right Reverend Abuaji, and says that if you undermine your own opportunities of being heard, you cannot plead natural justice in defense. You understand? So once there is service of the pendency and you elect not to come to court, you cannot hold the hands of the judicial process and so that you are not prosecuted. So, Attorney General, when the people they are running away from justice, all you need to do is to provide evidence of service and continue. Because the state cannot wait for you, and then you will be in Greenland, and we cannot come to Greenland. And therefore
Greenland, Iceland.
Iceland. And then you'll be enjoying your time whilst the state is also waiting for you. We can't do that. But again, when you cannot even find a person to serve, and I disagree with the party who says that save his lawyers. If he is not a lawyer on record in the court, you cannot save him and say that I think he is a lawyer. What shows that, I don't know, Minka Prabhu may be acting for him in different cases, different situations. You cannot be your perpetual lawyer so that anything, the matrimonial matter, go and save Minka Prabhu. No. That is not proper service. If he is on record as admitting appointment, and that he is a lawyer in this case, it could be so many cases. Like Attorney General was citing, like Attorney General was citing different cases in respect of my client.
I agree.
In these cases, I have filed notice of appointment as solicitor. So if you serve me in that capacity, it is served. But you think that Martin is in a matrimonial matter with another woman, and Martin is my friend, so you come and serve me.
Ken is not being divorced.
I see.
You cannot serve me like that. So now, that is another one. The accountability issues. I think that every person coming into public office must be conscious of the fact that you are accountable for your period. So that one, I will not, if they serve me with a process, and they have served me before. I think the last time when I had left free zones, I was summoned before NIB to prove that I had sold some land in Takoradi to a company. I appeared and I told them that, well, yes, the land is for that company. I think it's Plot Industries. But the land is not public land. The land was somebody's land. That person, I think, Poku Transport, he transferred the land to his daughter, who is the chief executive of Plot. And the woman used the land to build the factory. But I went to commission the factory.
Yeah. I see.
As a public officer. When I provided the information, in fact, the man even saw me off at the gate. Say, thank you very much for providing this information. So when they call you, just go and tell them what you know. But in recent times also, there are a lot of public commentary on pending cases, which I am not comfortable with.
Okay.
And I want to refer us to an existing law that does not allow us to be discussing cases.
We'll come to that because
let me finish. Let me finish. And this is Legal Profession Regulation, LI 2423, and Section 38 thereof. And it is explicit.
No, that would be rule.
Regulation.
Rule 38.
Rule 38.
Regulation.
Regulation 38, yes. A lawyer who is participating or has participated in the investigation or litigation of a matter that is still pending before a court shall not make an out-of-court statement or grant an interview to the media on the matter. I rest my case.
Okay, well, thank you. Let me bring in the lawyer Martin Kpebu. You had indicated prior to the Deputy Attorney General arriving this morning.
But the unfortunate situation is that...
I'll come to you. That you had information that Ken Ofori-Atta was going through the process of seeking permanent stay in the United States, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And there you have it in the letter. You see the part of the letter that says that he's applied for adjustment of status. Adjustment of status. Now, what that means is that he's applied for a permanent residence card, what we popularly call the green card. So the information I had some months ago was that his son had applied for him. And in the U.S., okay, I'm not a U.S. lawyer, but I've lived there, in and out over 2 decades now. So some of it I can talk.
You have done locum there.
You know it, international anyway, locum. So I know it practically, but I'm not speaking as a U.S. lawyer. So you can go in there, right? So you have sons or children who are above 21. So you enter on a visitor's visa, B1, B2, you're doing other things, blah, blah, blah. Then your children who are citizens can apply for you to become a permanent resident. That's to get a green card. So that's the type that Ofori-Atta's son did for him, so that he become a permanent resident. All right? So the information that I got a few months ago is what they've confirmed. So watch their statement. They say he has a petition, pending for an adjustment of status. Adjustment of status.
In his favor.
Yes. So that's applying for a green card. So instead of staying here, you can live outside the US and then the child will apply for you. When it's time, you go through. It takes long, generally, and it's very complex. But you can also enter the US and then they apply for you. So that's the type that Ofori-Atta did. And so viewers, a few months ago, when I mentioned it, people were like, oh, what's your source? What's your source? Then I said, no. If I have to disclose my source every time, then very soon all my sources will dry because they will say, oh, we can't trust this lawyer because anything you tell him, he'll go and expose. So you see why we don't disclose our sources. But they say that time reveals everything.
True.
Yes, time reveals everything. So thankfully, in this one, in less than 3 months, time has revealed that he has applied for a green card.
I see.
Yes.
Well, Manasseh Asare-Awene is joining. I'll come back to you, Lamas People. Manasseh Asare-Awene is joining us as an investigative journalist. Led the investigation into one of the cases that Ken Ofori-Atta is having to answer for. That is the SML case. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Manasseh, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred.
Let me put it on record. He's joining us from the United States as well. So Manasseh has some information on how things are playing out. But first of all, Manasseh, you please, you earlier indicated that Ken Ofori-Atta had a visa, a U.S. visa that would expire on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day this year, correct?
Yes, I did.
So this morning, the Deputy Attorney General just told us that apparently Ken Ofori-Atta's visa was let me just get it right. It was revoked in June 2025. That is the information that Ken Ofori-Atta's visa, the U.S. visa, was revoked in 2025. And he's been living in the U.S. illegally for the past 6 months until his detention by ICE. That's what we are hearing this morning. So how does it correlate with this visa that you're talking about that will expire on the 14th of February this year?
Well, I am not privy to this information, but it is possible that the visa, as his lawyers even said, or confirmed, is set to expire in February. But the revocation, as we are hearing now, it's always possible that somebody knows that, okay, you have this length of stay, but for ABC reason, we are revoking that. So I don't think it's inconsistent with the February 14 visa expiration date.
I see. So that was just the clarity I needed. And you indicated as well that he has other visas, other valid visas?
Yes.
Which are those?
He has valid visas to the UK, United Kingdom, and also a valid visa to Canada. And that his UK visa will expire on the 21st of April, 2032. And then his Canadian visa will expire on the 31st of May, 2031. That is if somebody doesn't revoke those visas as we are being told. So it is possible that you can have a visa up to a certain number of years, but for some reasons, the state will say, look, this is what we've given you, but we are taking it back. That may be the reason we are hearing about the revocation of the U.S. visa in 2025. But the original visa date, if it hadn't been revoked, I mean, that visa would have expired in February.
I see. Well, that's the update to that information is what the Deputy Attorney General has just given us exclusively this morning, that his visa, the U.S. visa, was revoked as far back as June 2025, and he's been living in the U.S. for the past 6 months illegally, and that is what landed him into trouble with ICE. So that's that exclusive detail that we got. But then this news of his detention, there's some information you've been picking up and digging on that. Tell us about it.
Yes, I have had sources that witnessed the arrest of Ken Ofori-Atta, and the sources say he was arrested in Washington, D.C. on the morning of Tuesday, January 6, 2026. And then the information is that this wasn't like those organized raids by ICE at specific places. It looked as if they had gone in specifically for him, because the sources say that as soon as he emerged from the entrance of the building, they moved in, surrounded him, got him into the car, and then drove him away. And if you look at the place where he was arrested, it is about 89 miles from where he's detained now. That's about an hour and 30 minutes drive. So that was how it occurred in Washington, D.C. And then there is also the specific location where he was arrested. There is a luxury apartment complex in Washington, D.C., located on the 1111 24th Street in Washington, D.C., and the building is called the Westlight Apartment Complex. Westlight Apartment Complex. And my sources say this is where Ken Ofori-Atta has been living in the U.S. And then his son has been spotted in this building, his wife too. As to whether he's bought it or is renting it, they cannot say. But this is where Ken Ofori-Atta has been living. It's a luxury apartment at the west end of Washington, D.C., and some prominent people have lived in this place. The most prominent official who has lived in this building, the immediate past Vice President of the U.S., Kamala Harris, had a 2-bedroom condo in this apartment. And when she became the Vice President and was moving out, this property was listed and sold at $1.89 million. That's a 2-bedroom apartment in this building owned by Kamala Harris. Was listed in April 2021, and then it was eventually sold for almost $2 million. And this is in a prime location with very good security, and it's just about a 20-minute walk from the White House. And this sources say this is where Ken Ofori-Atta has been living in the U.S. until Tuesday morning, when he was emerging from this building. The ICE officials or agents just surrounded him, moved him to the car, and then drove him away to the detention center that he is at now.
Interesting. So he was actually arrested in Washington, D.C. and moved to Virginia.
Yes, he was in Washington, D.C., and the exact location, as I've said, is 1111 24th Street in Washington. And if you Google the Westlight Apartments in Washington, D.C., is quite a prime location. We are told some diplomats and very important people live there. A luxury apartment complex, because of its security and then also location, its centrality to some of the most important buildings in Washington, D.C. That's where Ken has been living.
And this is some exclusive information Manasseh has picked, and he's just disclosing it publicly for the first time here on Key Point. And you say, based on the information you have, the entire process of picking up Ken Ofori-Atta looked like more of a, for the lack of a better expression, a targeted one, that they went in specifically for him.
Exactly. That is what the sources that witnessed the arrest said, and that it was very swift. Some people who were even not looking may not have seen, because as soon as he emerged, they picked him up, and according to them, he's not been living in the so-called like a fugitive that would be said here, that he moves about freely, comes out, goes out, and on this occasion, as soon as he stepped out, they surrounded him and picked him up.
I see. Now, but you've also, after this news became public, been working around and also picking up a bit more information about Ken Ofori-Atta and all of this process of he being in the U.S., his lawyers saying he's not well, and then also seeking treatment. The latest we got is that he's recuperating. In fact, that's what his lawyer, that is Frank Davis, said this week, that he decided to stay there a bit longer because he's recovering from the medical process that he went through. Is that consistent with the information that your sources picked up about his living and how he moved around in that particular apartment you talk about?
Yes, when it comes to health, you cannot say much, but according to these sources, they see him living normally. That is what the sources say. That, oh, he's living normally. Sometimes see him out, and sometimes he gets visitors. So it's like he's that's the outward appearance. That's what these sources say. But of course, this is a health issue. You cannot just see someone and assume everyone is right. But if they say he's recuperating, I suspect he's getting better, as the lawyers may have said, because from people who see him, it doesn't look like, that's from the outside, it doesn't look like someone who is very sick. And I think this information we are getting from Washington, D.C. is inconsistent with somewhere last year, December or so, there were some reports that he was cited in Washington, D.C. And if you look at his travel records, he left this country on January 4, 2025, departed from Terminal 3, and then the airline he boarded was the United Airlines Flight 997, and that airline was headed for the Washington, D.C. So it looks like his location and life within the D.C. area has also been confirmed.
So how does this news of his detention get to you, especially because of the interest you have as an investigative journalist, investigated a case that he's having to answer for?
Well, I think it is good news if the Americans want to comply and with our extradition request. I think this has made it easier for them. Extradition comes with a whole lot of legal issues. But if you overstay your visa and then you want to apply for a change of status, which is to extend your stay, and as far back as July 2025, I think last year I even made it public that a source close to Ken Ofori-Atta said he had no intention of coming back home to face justice. And part of the reason the person cited was, look, they are just waiting for him to humiliate him and all of that, and he wouldn't subject himself to that. And maybe it is now becoming very clear that he might have had bail the longest overnight, maybe at the OSP, because those who were charged home, they got their freedom just back home. They got their freedom just a day afterwards. But it looks like that humiliation has started. And for me, I said on this show that whatever we want to do with the Americans goes beyond just the law. There is a politics, there's a diplomacy angle to it. So for me, this makes it easier for them to bring him home to face justice like everyone else. And I think it is good news. And I suspect the kind of attention that has occasioned his travel and stay in the U.S. has also influenced this in a way. If you're hearing of the revocation of his visa, prior to the noise about he running away and all of that, I didn't think he had been in the public for anything that would perhaps have resulted in all of this. So for me, generally, it is good news, and I can't wait to hear the breaking news that, well, Ken Ofori-Atta has been put on a flight and brought to Ghana. He should go to court like everyone else and answer for everything he did. Because spending all those monies on SML could have built hospitals that people like any average Ghanaian who cannot travel outside to get this quality healthcare he's getting in the US can also do it. So if he decides to use our money in a certain way, then it is only normal that we ask for him to come down and account for his stewardship.
In fact, the Deputy Attorney General this morning has indicated a number of things, that there's going to be a hearing on the 20th, which is just some 10 days away from today, regarding Kenneth Ofori-Atta's detention. So he would have his day in court, sort of, because of his detention in the US. And then we'll get to see what will happen afterwards. But then he also states that he could be brought into this country earlier than expected. That is, if we're going to go through the route of the extradition, it would have taken longer, as you referenced. But then, with this detention, he could be brought in earlier than expected. That's all things being equal.
Yes, I don't disagree with him, because I also said, I don't remember whether it's on this show or Newsday, that when the Americans want you out of their country in this evening, they can get him out. There are people who had green cards and other valid visas, and for some reason, something they did or said, they got them out. And I have read somewhere that staying in another person's country is a privilege that that country gives you. And it was in relation to some criticism that US officials were responding to. And that it is a privilege, it's not your right to live here. But now there is some evidence of the overstaying or a violation of his status. So if they are committed to bringing him, I think this is the easiest way, and there is good reason to expect that they would want to help us. I think I remember that the first batch of people that were extradited from Ghana to the US were told the request had come long ago when President Akufo-Addo, that is Ken Ofori-Atta's cousin, was in office, and people were asking, so why did Ghana not act? This administration has sent a number of people to the US, a number of Ghanaians to the US to face justice. So it is only normal that we expect to have that kind of arrangement, that when they need the people who have caused some harm to Americans, we give it to them. And when we need someone who has caused so much harm to Ghanaians, then we have this expectation that they would bring him. And for me, this is the easiest way to get him down to Ghana than even the extradition.
Well, Manasseh, thank you very much for talking to us, and stay with me in a bit. How easy will this detention make his Ken Ofori-Atta's return to Ghana? I mean, I use easy, juxtaposing it with if we were taking the route of the extradition. Deputy AG.
So, thank you very much. So, this detention is in respect of alleged violations of immigration rules. So, when you violate immigration rules, you will be simply deported. You may even choose to self-deport. That is, so on 20th, it may happen that the former finance minister will just inform the court that, look, I don't want to go through all this. I want just take me home. And he would just be sent back to us, as Senior just said, so we could hold him accountable. So that is how easy it could be. Extradition could also be that easy if he's arraigned and he admits that, look, I want to go back to my country and face justice. That could also cut the process short. But he may contest either of these processes. Yeah, he may insist that he has some other rights, and the system would have to indulge him to use all the legitimate legal, avenues that are available. And I mean, let me mention this. Our mission in the United States, in Washington, the ambassador, Victor Smith, has been making efforts to go and visit him and offer him the necessary support that a citizen is entitled to in such situation. Unfortunately, he seemed to have refused every effort that such assistance as at now.
I see.
Yeah. So, but we are making the Republic. We are making every effort to offer him all the assistance he needs. And you know, when you are in a different country and some things like this happen, being a former high-ranking official, we really owe you a duty to offer your necessary support in that situation. So,
you're the one saying.
I think Ofori-Atta is rejecting, rebuffing the efforts or his eyes.
yes, the initial efforts were rebuffed. I believe.
He doesn't want.
So what kind of assistance were you going to give to him in terms of what?
If you need a lawyer, if you need financial support, anything that will help you to come out of that situation.
And he said he doesn't want it.
Full support.
Let me give you a one sentence. This things happened. You see, when Reagan, when he was shot, the one that the assassination attempt whilst he was in office, president of the U.S. When he woke up, the doctors, one of the questions he asked them that, I hope you are not Democrats. You know, Reagan is Republican. So because the ambassador is NDC, maybe that's why he's rejecting it.
I see.
Well, so that is the situation.
So
now.
you offered some help.
Of course, I mean,
Ken Ofori-Atta.
Indeed, yeah.
As you know, in the case of any other high-ranking public official,
Not just any citizen who finds himself distressed in
and
this
he
kind
said
of
he didn't need it.
I mean, he did not accept.
He did not accept it, which you cannot force it on him.
Yeah.
I see, but getting to know now from if what Manasseh is saying to us is anything to go by, that based on the information from his sources, that one, he was arrested in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, January 6th, which is some 4 days ago. And it looked as though they went in specifically for him in that apartment that he mentions, the luxury apartment 111 24th Street in Washington, D.C. And that they had sort of picked up some information prior to their arrival. They didn't go in, no eyes when they go into a particular community based on what we watch or see. They go in and they scout around. But this one, it was as though, based on his information, they went in, the ICE officials went in specifically for him. The moment he got out of the apartment, he was grabbed and taken to Virginia.
Yeah, so, I mean, I do not dispute my good friend who we're all here and then he left me. He's refusing to come back. I don't know. One of these days I'll just, Manasseh. I'll just bring him back. But I mean, his information is consistent with what we have.
It's consistent with what you have.
The mode of arrest, yeah.
The mode of arrest?
Yeah.
That they went in to the apartment.
Specifically
for Ken Ofori-Atta.
Yeah. And the place of detention, as he mentioned, is the same information that we have.
I see.
No, he was not emphatic like that. He says he believes that.
No, but then now it's been confirmed.
Also that,
now you're saying that based on what their sources told him, is consistent with what your briefing you got.
Precisely.
even the
That
briefing,
he went in specifically for him.
Even the briefing cannot be specific. It is based on allegations and suspicions.
No, I think the information is that he was picked up at a particular place and sent to a particular place. That is what Manasseh said. And I'm saying that the information he has given is consistent with what we also have.
Yes, that this said luxury apartment 111 24th Street, Washington,
I do not
DC.
have the details of
but it was
the number and all that. But the manner in which he was arrested, I mean, is what he was picked up. He wasn't in a group or anything. He was picked up specifically and then sent there.
I see. To this Virginia Caroline Detention Center.
Which is about 1.5 hours.
You know, Virginia, Washington, and Maryland.
They are in the same
same enclave. It's actually called Washington, Greater Washington area. So,
getting to you just made the initial comment before I went to Manasseh. Now we have some more detail that Manasseh has given and corroborated by the Deputy Attorney General that this is indeed what they have received, the briefing of how he was picked up. It was more of something that was targeted, that this is the person we are going in for. And they got him, took him to Virginia. How does this get to you?
Yeah, so it's welcome news, right? Except that we'll wait with bated breath because, these are legal maneuvers that have to be done, right? Yes. This one, a few months ago, I heard something about that. That look, another way would be to get this guy deported for violating the visa rules, right? Yeah, somebody mentioned it, that it could be. Not knowing, steps were afoot. Yeah, so now I'm putting the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together. Somebody mentioned it, that they could look at a deportation for violation of visa rules. So let's see how it goes. Because we don't have too many details, we want to be cautious so that we don't run ahead of ourselves. But in the meantime, at least, the fact that he's been restricted is a bit of a warning to him. It's a salvo that, look, like Manasseh put it, humiliation. It started. He's been too stubborn. He has to just come back home. And perhaps this is the time that we should call on Akufo-Addo to prevail upon his brother to come back.
What has Akufo-Addo got to do
but that's his brother. That's why they are family. When he was in government...
in persona.
Oh, no. So let me make my point. That's when you come from a family and you are involved in trouble, you don't...
So you can't talk and leave Akufo-Addo.
They are family. Yes, so they are family.
Respond to the issue as raised.
Okay. No.
They are family, and it's normal in our cultural setups, okay? Not just here alone. I mean, in most civilizations, one member of a family is in trouble, they'll go to the rest and offer advice. So at this stage, Akufo-Addo has to step in to, prevail upon Ofori-Atta to come to stop the further humiliation, because he's dragging their family name into disrepute. Because prior to that, Akufo-Addo had said no person is corrupt, etc. So a valid. Okay. Oh, I haven't finished.
Yes, yes.
Right. So that is the point. Now, also a bit on the arrest process. So you see how Dr. Sremsa is mentioned. You see that Ofori-Atta may fight this. So this ICE detention itself can lead to court proceedings, and then this can also further, delay. So that's how come we are asking that, look, Akufo-Addo and the rest of the family members have to come in and say, look.
Step in.
Oh, yes. So we've stepped in. So by saying he should come, that's where I first started. I said Ofori-Atta should come. Then later I went to Akufo-Addo.
If you say it could delay, what do you mean?
Oh, no, there'll be legal proceedings. Okay. There'll be legal proceedings because somebody, you see, even the lawyer's letter says that they are trying to get his release.
Yes.
So meaning that he's not willing to come back home. The lawyer's letter says that somebody who has been arrested from now, ICE will do the necessary processes and we want to deport him. But the lawyer say no. They are stepping in and trying to get him released. So that's a fight. That's underway. So once the fight is underway, it could protract, right? And so that's why we're saying the easier option is for us to prevail upon Ofori-Atta to calm down. You see it. We are all living here. Ghana, we are not dead. Even Zato, who has been saying the economy is bad, he bought fuel at a lower price to drive to Tumu, right? Exactly. Zato, how much was fuel when Akufo-Addo was leaving? Today it's far cheaper. You bought cheaper fuel and went home.
Right.
Chinia, you said people are not marrying. The Chinia marry. The Chinia, your competitor, did he marry when you were home?
He is going now on his own. He says
but Chinia, the MP, for the MP. The MP took a new wife, so you decided. So don't digress. Let's it's important. It's important. So the point we are making is that look, yes, times are generally hard, but it's been better. The past 1 year, inflation, etc., everything is calmed down, so it's better than a year before.
We'll come to that. That's why I don't want you to go ahead.
And so the point I'm addressing is that we are assuring Ofori-Atta that Ghana is not as bad. In actual fact, Ghana has become better than he left.
So he should come.
So he should come back home. Now, so we're talking about the fact that it could lead to court proceedings and could delay. It could lead to court proceedings and could delay. That's why the option that family members should tell him to throw in the towel and calm down. It's a better option because when it does that, then it can give OSP to a bit of reprieve. Because, for me, even when Ofori-Atta comes still, my beef with the OSP on the way Kissie Jabe allowed Ofori-Atta to escape will never end because we need to get some accountability. That public officers should not be aiding other public officers to flee when it's time for accountability. But at least I'm sure that if Ofori-Atta came today, more Ghanaians will prevail upon me that, Kpebu, you allow Kisii to rest a bit. You see, so if Ofori-Atta comes down, it will help Kisii Agyabi a bit. To give
your friend Dafiama.
Exactly, Dafiama. Yes, indeed. You see, so that's very key. That is very, very, very key. This coming down earlier. Otherwise, for these legal proceedings, look, and don't forget also, even for the extradition, Dr. Sremsa will corroborate to you. Let's not forget. Even for extradition, when the judge makes a final order that, yes, you can deport him, it's not final. It's the Secretary of State of the U.S., what's it, Rubio. That's his name, right?
Yes.
Marco Rubio. It's Rubio who has the final word. It's not the judge. When it comes to extradition in the U.S., the final authority...
It's like the foreign minister.
Yeah, the foreign minister, Okudzetu's this counterpart or equivalent, right? He has the final say. So extradition, those who are excited that, okay, then it can help the extradition process.
The court decision is subject to appeal.
Of course.
It's not a direct appeal. It's review. No, not the word appeal as lawyers. It's review. There's a way you can go around it, but not a direct appeal. When the court decides, it's final when it comes to extradition, but there are ways to go about it for supervisory jurisdiction in the higher courts, but not directly as an appeal. So, look, because it's subject to a lot of politics, what we need is to increase the calls, just like the way Arise Ghana, you know, Prince Derek KJ, Rex Umar and Co., their organization, they said they'll be picketing at the U.S. Embassy. You remember some months ago, I mentioned that we'll organize a demonstration to go to the U.S. Embassy. Thank God that other Ghanaians are coming in. Yes, and even before Arise Ghana's decision, you know, Professor Kweku Asare and others have already written to the U.S. ambassador.
Yes.
So Ghanaians, this is what we are talking about. We all need to get up and ratchet up the calls. Make the return of Ofori-Atta front and center of all our public discussions. That way, the U.S. will see that we are serious and we understand. But if you leave it to a few people across the table here, it won't help. So Arise Ghana, we are grateful. Make sure that it happens. We'll come and lend you our support. We will attend. Yes.
Well, thank you. Dr. Zato, you have consistently maintained that on the matter of accountability, everybody has to answer for their stewardship in office, public office, for that matter. And now we are hearing of the latest with Ken Ofori-Atta and the additional information that we've gotten this morning from both the Deputy Attorney General and Manasseh Asare-Awene, who joined us, taking into consideration what his lawyers have said. Would his return be good news to you?
Thank you very much. I think I must start by saying that I've watched Martin's submissions on these issues. But it has become very clear, even from this morning, that Martin Kpebu has a personal hatred and jealousy for Akufo-Addo and his family. It seems there's some bitterness within you for that family. I don't know what they did to you or what they will do to you. I don't know whether it's jealousy, it's bitterness, but it's just naked wickedness towards this family. But look, whatever it is, Martin, I would have thought that somebody like you who just tasted a little bit of the coercive powers of the state would be a little bit magnanimous when it comes to this. At every opportunity, you drag the former president's name into this. At every opportunity, you try to bastardize his name. At every opportunity, you try to soil his name. What at all has Akufo-Addo done to you?
What do you gain out of it?
And what do you gain out of it? Because you see, it's very important. We are talking about personalizing politics. We are talking about, you are not raising the quality of this argument. No. You are not raising the quality of the public engagement. No. You are not making inputs that people can learn from. No. It is personal to you. Why? You see, you sat here, you said the same thing about Paul Adomachiri. You sat here, you chastised him. When he was arrested, you were giddy, you were laughing, you were smiling. When they picked you, you wanted the whole world to mourn for you. When they arrested you, you wanted the whole world to call Kisii Agyabi to order. It's not nice when you pick up a family. You are being a bully. You are bullying the Akufo-Addo family. They've left you because probably they think that you are not relevant. But it's no good when you are picking on somebody. He's a former president. He's raised about that. If not, he also has people who I think that can also come and defend him. So what you are doing is no good. Don't be a bully, Martin Kpebu. Don't be. It's not nice. Don't do that. Okay? My position on accountability, I've stated it, and I always state it. I have said that. Regime and post-regime accountability, I have absolutely no problem with that. I don't know Ken Ofori-Atta from anywhere. I've never met him. The closest I've seen him is on TV. I'm saying the closest I've seen him is on TV. I don't know him. I've never met him. He was a finance minister for 8 years, or no, for 6, 7 years, whatever it is. He has the right to come and account for whatever it is. the legalities and otherwise of this, I have no problem with that. I'll let it go. When any day, whatever happens, it comes again. I don't even think he will hire me as a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer to defend him. So I also let that go. Maybe he will hire my friend. You were in school together, now you've gone somewhere, you are not looking at me. Don't do that, Doc. Don't do that. Yeah.
You already
We went, Doc, you were, okay, that's part of the joke. But look, let's be honest. There seems to be an infatuation with Ken Ofori-Atta. It seems to be that there is some deep-seated kind of, I don't know what it is, hatred of infatuation with the and this government. I don't get it.
There's some hatred for
I don't know.
Ofori-Atta.
There seems to be some infatuation that, listen, everything seems to what, like, everything, Ofori-Atta. I pray and hope that it ends. I pray and hope that this man comes so that whatever it is, the justice system takes its form, and then we can move on with our lives. We have things to do. We have an economy to improve. We have mouths to feed. We have unemployed youth to employ. We have bad roads to fix. We have a judiciary to rebuild. We have a lot of things to do. But it seems that this kind of Ofori-Atta thing has just frozen almost everybody and almost everything. And that's what I'm praying. I'm praying that it quickly comes to an end.
But
so
you want accountability. You want accountability.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That I pray if tomorrow I wake up and realize that Ofori-Atta is in town. If tomorrow I wake up and realize that he's before a judge in Ghana, I have no problem with that. The justice system will take its part, and then we will see. Because you see, we seem to be engaged in this kind of tunnel vision, narrow tunnel vision, where we just want to make it look like Ofori-Atta. I want us to move ahead. There are other investigations.
How can we move ahead if the person?
I've said if I move.
Take this question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So because you're saying we should move ahead. I'm saying, how can we move ahead if the person in question has not been brought in to answer for his stewardship, and then also the prosecution, the allegation against him? You asked me. Let me answer it. There are 4 lawyers here, and they've all said it. All these prominent lawyers have said that we don't need a man in court to charge him. All these lawyers have said that you don't need a man in court to prosecute him. So the question I also ask is this: for the whole year, why aren't we prosecuting the guy? If you say that the OSP was delaying, if you say OSP was delaying, and you say OSP is good, but is it possible that the Attorney General could have moved ahead and started prosecuting the guy in court for a whole year? Because so far, a whole year has been, for want of a better word, wasted. Is it possible that they could have been prosecuting him before now? Because I believe that, imagine we were prosecuting him and then we had gotten far, then he comes and then we continue with that. So I'm saying that, whatever it is, if I wake up tomorrow morning and I hear that he's here, I'll be very happy. Let him go to court. Let us do that. If he's found guilty, he'll pay for it because he knew that going into public office. He's found innocent, he'll go home to his family because that is the price you pay for going to public office. But let us also understand that. But the question you ask about why is he not being prosecuted, are you aware that he's being prosecuted now? There's a case against him.
So is the coming down just academic? So it's coming down just academic?
I was just asking.
No, I know. Okay, if that's the case, so it means that even whether he comes out or not, then it means as a state we are not losing anything, right?
In case he's convicted.
Again, there's a different. Tamakulo said enough. Tamakulo has been. I'm making a point. If we are already prosecuting him, as you've said, that means that he can still be found guilty. And if he's found guilty and he's not there, there are other legal remedies that I'm sure the Attorney General has to use it to what? At least let us get our money. My point is that we should fix Zaid on getting the money if if he's found guilty. So what? So it means that if he's coming down, is it only academic? Or is it political and humiliation? Because if you are prosecuting him and he's not here, and then you are saying that he must be here to face justice. He's already facing justice. Isn't that when you are being prosecuted, are you not facing justice?
That's correct.
So we shouldn't make the idea that Ken Ofori-Atta is not facing justice right now. If what you've just said is true, he's already facing the justice.
It's reduced. It's a reduced form.
No, you make your point. The Deputy Attorney General.
Because I'm not a lawyer. Maybe these questions I'm asking, maybe they are ignorant.
Okay, hold on, gentlemen.
Please. Maybe the questions I'm asking are ignorant. The Attorney General will school me. He's also a very good senior lecturer. So the question is, one, we should not create this negative perception in the public that Ofori-Atta is not facing justice. If he's being prosecuted, you are facing justice. If you are in court or your lawyers are in court, you are facing justice. So his coming may only be for optics. His coming may only be for the public humiliation. He's coming only before the political capital that he will come in. Because the guy is being prosecuted. Unless you tell me that if you are being prosecuted in your absence, it's different from being prosecuted in person. Because I believe that if he's found guilty and then his final court, he will face it. So
let me just.
No. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Respectfully. Please. I'll come to you. I will come to you. Your microphone is off. I want land.
Yeah.
Dr. Zato, land on your point.
So, if that is so, there are two things now I've tried to establish.
Okay.
The man is facing justice in Ghana. He's before court. He's before a competent judge, a competent system of judicial, and that he can be found guilty, and every other consequences of the legal process can be brought to bear him. That is true. Two, that the narrative that he is not facing justice or he's not being prosecuted is wrong. Three, then if his coming down has no material value to that prosecution, then it is just a political thing to humiliate him, parade him around as the foster boy of corruption so that you can get, should I say, political capital or whatever. So it is the politicization of his arrest which is now the prime issue here. But the man is already facing justice. And again, I just want to conclude on this because I will let the lawyers do their talking and educate all of us. If Ofori-Atta is facing justice, that is good. I said something, Lily, before we go at the point, and I hope that we do this, that we make sure that everybody that holds a public office gets to face the justice. I made a suggestion last time that there's a request for some Ghanaians to be brought to face justice in the US. I said that. And I'm sure that the Deputy Attorney General is here. Maybe is it possible for us to ask for a quid pro quo so that some of the people that have also escaped justice in Ghana can be brought back, like Sednam Tamaklu? But to end, there's something that I'm always afraid of. In international relations, there's something called sticks and carrots. Sticks and carrots are mostly quid pro quo. What that means is a state can make an offer, and then usually it's with the carrot, and if you use the stick. From the two accounts given, the Honorable Attorney General says that Ken's visa was revoked in June. We're also being told by Manasseh that his visa expires in February. That means that if we go back...
He yielded to the Deputy Attorney General's information,
that
if you listen to him,
yeah,
that he didn't have that revocation
yes,
information.
No, so
he doesn't contest it.
No. Frank Davis on another station said that the visa will expire next month.
Yes, February 14th.
Okay, so let me no, I know. I know how I'm interrupted a lot, but it's okay. Let me make this point. I want to make this point. So two accounts. I believe that the Deputy Attorney General who says his visa was revoked in June. Manasseh says the visa was supposed to expire February 14th, Valentine's Day, Day of Love. What that means, there's something that I'm seeing here. That behind this might be what? Diplomacy going on. Behind this may be high-stakes diplomacy. We know the president of the United States is a transactional president. He doesn't believe in morals or law. He believes in transactions. Maybe he wants something from Ghana. And he wants to use Ofori-Atta to get what he wants. My point is that when we are doing this quid pro quo diplomacy, be careful, because already people have been deported into this country. We're in a murky, opaque situation where even Parliament doesn't know what is happening. I think that was through diplomacy, not law. So far, we have been told that Ghanaians have been taken out, and so look, I want to pray. My prayer is that,
okay,
in this particular case, that even if it is diplomacy, which is normal, and even if it is a quid pro quo we are making with America, give us Ken in exchange for it. Because you see, there are certain things that I know that, based on privileged information, some people, you cannot say it publicly that it is statecraft. It's also called statecraft. But whatever it is, that quid pro quo we are doing does not become later injurious to our national interests. But again, I believe in regime accountability and post-regime accountability. And I believe that any man or woman who raises his or her hand to swear an oath of office must know that one day a time will come, he or she also raise his hand to account to the good people of Ghana.
And I thank you very much. Dr. Shamsai?
Thank you very much. I think I heard something which my very good friend and colleague, said. He said the government hates Ofori-Atta. I believe it was a slip. If it's a slip, I think you have to acknowledge.
I was talking.
Along the line, after you finish your answer.
I was talking about
This government doesn't. This government doesn't.
Okay, so let me. It's Martin. I didn't mean it.
No. You made a specific statement that it looks as though there's hatred for Ken Ofori-Atta in pursuing this
on the streets of
that's the government.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I think
when I say government, I don't mean that.
You've withdrawn that.
Okay.
Yes,
So
I
then let me
withdrawn
just.
that. Okay.
Then the second point, you see, you are not facing justice if your trial is going on and you are out there having your freedom and not attending the trial. You are not facing justice. There is a material difference between standing trial and being tried in absentia. In fact, the default position of every law is that an accused person should face the law, should be present in the courtroom, should cross-examine his accusers, and that is what we call justice. If a person makes it impossible for him to be put through this process and is somewhere else, that is an entirely different situation, and the law allows that, but that doesn't mean that you can just arrest someone and start trying the person in absentia. There are processes that you have to go through to even have that trial in absentia done. And so it is not as if the government is interested in, as you put it, optics of having him here. It is to fulfill, first of all, a constitutional obligation of trying him in his presence so that he will be actively partaking in the process. It is also his right to be here. If he waives the right, but that waiver of right must be express. It cannot be implied by the fact that he's not here. That is why the law requires that you should have brought the trial to his attention. If you bring the trial to his attention, and now the person is not even here for us to bring the trial to his attention, now processes have been followed, and I believe the trial has already started. So the only correction I want to make here is that it is not the same to say that you can be absent and be tried as in being present and be tried. If you are not present, you are not facing justice. And that is why every country, everywhere in the world, would do everything they can to make sure that someone who is accused of doing a wrong or committing a crime is brought. That is why extradition, laws exist, and every country pursues that. Rigorously. That should tell us that there is a material difference between being tried in your presence and also being tried in absentia. So it is not for the optics at all. It is for constitutional obligation and also to ensure that, look, if we can all do things and run away and not face justice, that would not be a justice system we are running. So it's part of the justice system to actually have the person brought in. So that is the second.
You teach and educate us.
No, so you asked a few questions, which he is responding to. So I just want you to conclude on it.
Yeah. So that is the point, and I think the last point I want to make is that we all owe it a duty to the public, okay, to educate the public openly, fairly, and respectfully. Okay. I did not particularly like the idea that when persons are educating the public, they will be described as haters of other persons. I think the former finance minister's issue has been something that everybody in this country, I don't know anyone who has not spoken or has not discussed this issue in a particular way. So I think that, and I will plead with my very good friend that it is also unfair to describe.
Oh, no, but this one, I disagree.
Okay.
Akufo-Addo did not do. What did Akufo-Addo do when he mentioned
Hold on. He's not even referencing that. I think hold on. Your microphone is off. Your microphone is off. He referenced what you said about Ken Ofori-Atta. You're not listening.
No, listen. You extended it beyond and went to Ken and said that
it's the Ken Ofori-Atta reference that he's making.
See,
It has nothing to do with it. So, gentlemen, thank you. Let me acknowledge the presence of Daniel Domelovo.
But that was what I said. Because if you see that.
Daniel Domelovo is former Auditor General of the Republic of Ghana, and then also a member of the oral preparatory team. He's joining us. Mr. Domelovo, good morning.
Thank you very much. Greetings to your panel.
Thank you very much for joining us as well. Now, we just quickly on the latest with Ken Ofori-Atta, the update we have from the Deputy Attorney General. He's with us in the studio, by the way. Dr. Edem Shemsai is here. He has just given us some updates that, one, as a matter of fact, Ken Ofori-Atta had his visa revoked sometime in June 2025. And from that period till just 4 days ago when he was picked up by ICE in what appeared to have been a targeted operation based on what we also got from Manasseh Azariah and confirmed by the Attorney General. And from now, he would have, in the next 10 days, an opportunity to have his day in court. Now, you've been asking questions of accountability of serving and persons who have served this country. How does this development of Ken Ofori-Attah's detention get to you, specifically on the matter of how this case has traveled right from January last year till now that he has been detained by ICE?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very sure there are a lot of legal brains with you there to go into the details of it. But I find it very unfortunate that a prominent person like that, a former Minister of Finance, should be detained in the US after they revoked his visa. I think the right thing to do immediately your visa is revoked is to just take off, leave the country, come back home. And well, I know that if he arrives in Ghana, he may be arrested, he may be put before court, etc. But then it is a very temporary process whereby after being granted bail, you are a free person. You can now go to court and defend yourself. Because I'm saying this because nobody should ever think that he or she can assume public office and will not or will escape accountability. So I think if he had taken the decision, which to me is still not too late, to come back to Ghana and just face it. If he has done nothing wrong, there is nothing for him to fear. If you come, of course, he will be arrested, I think, and I'm sure they will also grant him bail, and then he fights it and clean his name. I think it's better than to be languishing in the jail of a foreign country and you don't know what your status is going to be one day. It will be sad to see our former minister being handcuffed, put inside a plane, and being deported to the country. So my view is that, well, it is a bit more legal than ordinary. From my commoner point of view, I would have wished that he just come and face it, and so that they don't keep him in jail. I don't think it's the best thing to do.
Well, but with what is happening now, we understand. Well, he would have his day in court in 10 days. Actually, that's information we have on this.
Yes, in 10 days. Will he be granted bail before then?
Well, that we don't know. No,
he's
been detained.
That it means he's going to be in detention at least for 10 days.
That's
which
true.
Which to me is not the best. I'm not sure if he comes to Ghana, they are going to detain him for 10 days. Maybe a day or two, something like that. He will have been granted bail. And of course, I know he's someone who can meet the bail conditions. He has a lot of colleagues and friends who can easily stand in for him. So I think that will have been easier. And mind you, if he's going to have his day in court, it doesn't mean once he appeared in court, that is the end. What about if the judge remands him and say, go and come back in a month's time? So he will continue being in jail. Is that not it?
Yes. That's what it is, actually. But you say he brought this upon himself, you're saying, essentially?
Yes, of course. Because once you're a public servant, you must be ready to. All of us, we left office. The former presidents leave office. In fact, President Nana Akufo-Addo is still in Ghana. And almost all of the other former government appointees, they are in Ghana. So if he had come back after the treatment, or especially when the visa was revoked, in fact, once your visa is revoked, it means that your status has become illegal. You don't have the permit or the right to stay. If I were here, I would have just said, okay, if I don't have the right, I take off. Or maybe try another country if he has visas for other countries, which I'm told he does. So try another country. But to stay there and now being put locked up, and we say in 10 days you have his day in court, that is also not certain that once you go to court, the court is going to say free him or extend his stay, etc. I don't find it good. I would have wished that he bites the bullet, comes over, allow government to do whatever they wanted to do. Some of us, we knew. I, for instance, I've always thought that government was going to persecute me when I left office. And they did. Several investigations. They didn't find anything. At the end of the day, I'm free. So you don't run away from some of these things, except if you are not sure, except if you don't want to be in a public office. If you want to be in public office, you must know it comes with accountability.
And Daniel Domelevo, stay with me on this. Quite a number of questions. The Deputy Attorney General may have to leave us at some point, but there are a few questions. Dr. Shemsai, this is to you. Quickly. First, Lawyer Kofi Bentil is watching us. Good morning to you, Mr. Bentil. He says, one, will Ofori-Atta be detained automatically if he comes to Ghana to stand trial? That's number one. You want to?
I mean, he obviously will be arrested upon entry.
But detention is subject.
And then you will go through the processes of, like anyone else, seeking bail. Bail will be granted if necessary, and then the trial will continue.
I see, and he asks why not grant him bail like any other because he's entitled to it.
But if you don't arrest him, how do you grant bail?
Bail is discretionary.
You arrest him first, then he applies for bail. Bail is considered and granted based on the facts.
Yeah, let's not change our laws.
And you see, so asking is absolutely necessary to detain him throughout his trial.
No, but no one is interested in detaining anyone throughout the trial.
Nobody does.
But when you are facing trial, you'll be arrested, you'll be charged. You then
detention
apply
or
for
otherwise
bail.
doesn't rest with the Attorney General. Detention doesn't rest with the Attorney General.
It rests with the judge.
It rests with the judge.
Okay, let him finish. Because he gives a background to it, that by law, the trial can proceed without Ken Ofori-Atta or with him on bail. Again, by law, the presence of the accused is optional and may be dispensed with by the judge. So, if that's the case, why is there so much focus on coming if it is not for the purpose of humiliation?
It is not the judge that will dispense with the trial. The judge will offer you a platform to defend yourself. You may accept
the law of
the law. Then you may
and then you may waive that right.
You may accept it or you may waive it.
Okay. When you waive it, it doesn't also stop the prosecution from continuing.
All right.
And indeed, in the beginning of the trial, his presence is not that necessary to facilitate the prosecution because the prosecution witnesses could be cross-examined by counsel of the accused person. To a point, I've done a case where somebody was tried in absentia. His lawyers cross-examined the prosecution witnesses. At the end of the prosecution's case, the lawyer filed a submission of no case, which was upheld by the court.
Okay.
And the accused person was discharged. So it is not critical that the accused person is not in court prior to the prosecution. It is even at the point that we go beyond the submission of no case and that prosecution ought to open, defense has to open its defense. Even there, the defense may even elect not to get him to speak. In fact, if you bring the accused person even in court, he has a right to remain silent also. Okay. And he may exercise that right. And that does not frustrate the prosecution in any way.
Well, Deputy, you want to add anything to
No, I just want to make the point that let's not make suggestions which will mean that we are changing the law in favor of one person. The standard is set already. When you are accused of a crime, you are first arrested. When you are arrested, you are arraigned before a court, your plea is taken, then you apply for bail. The judge will consider the bail based on the factual situation. And the purpose of the bail is to ensure that you are available to attend the court proceedings or to be at the trial. So it cannot be that even before he comes, the AG will decide that we are not going to detain. Once we hand him over to the court, the accused person, as we say, is now the court's accused person, not the AG's accused person.
Right.
And everything that goes on there is between the accused person and the judge, and the AG will also make prayer, just as an accused person will make a prayer. But what we cannot do, we don't even have the power to do, is to say that we are not going to present him to the court, we are not going to arrest him, or we are not going to, because you need to arrest him to be able to even charge him.
I see. Well, so on this matter of how the case will proceed going forward,
Yes,
because there's heightened expectation as to what would happen next after his detention.
you see, in all criminal prosecutions,
Gentlemen,
in all criminal prosecutions, what is important is for the state, the republic, to come to the determination that you are willing, able, and available to defend yourself in court. That's all. That's why bail comes in. So bail goes to conduct. When the state determines that by your conduct you are unwilling, you are evasive, you are prone to absconding from the jurisdiction, becoming a fugitive of justice, you are not willing to submit yourself to the court processes to defend your interests, they will restrict your movement. So the essence of bail, the jurisprudence of bail in all these matters is essentially that. That is why there are conditions that are given when you are admitted to bail.
Subject to circumstances.
Exactly. But it's all about conduct. Essentially, it's about your conduct. If you are available, they can actually tell you that your self-recognizance because of conduct. They will restrict you. They can actually put you in custody perpetually until the trial is over, also depending on your conduct. So that is about the law. Now, this issue about hatred.
The law is the law.
Yeah, this issue about hatred and humiliation of accused persons. Why? Jerry Rawlings ruled this country for 19 years. He was subpoenaed to appear before the National Reconciliation Commission. Why? Was that to humiliate him? No. But it was a quasi judicial process that demanded that he attended. And he had to come. Kojo Chikata appeared, also under subpoena. Was that a humiliation? No. JM, the sitting president, when he became ex-president after he lost his first term, what didn't we do to him in this country? He was investigated, Gulfstream, everybody, they gave him all manner of names. Until he had to be cleared by office of the special prosecutor. He submitted himself to the process, prosecutorial investigative process. Is Oforiatta greater than JM? Is Oforiatta greater than John Dramani Mahama in this country? No. So we shouldn't be venturing into those fears. And let me say this. I mentioned Kwame Pepra. He also occupied the same office before him. He submitted himself. He was convicted and jailed in this country. He went to jail and returned to his family. His deputy went and he died. So nobody should think that they have the right to hold other public officers accountable, and when it is their turn, yes, you sitting member of parliament, my brother here, he was invited when he left his public office as a chief executive of the.
That was no occasion. The occasion was when OSP wanted me to name whoever.
Oh no, you were invited, so you had to go and clarify because as for the invitation, it was extended. It was not about humiliation.
He's not bigger than me.
And he's not bigger than you. And let me say this: Chachu Chikata was prosecuted and jailed in this country. He has to argue himself legally out of jail. So nobody should. Atufosin, what did he do? In 2017, he was investigated about ambulance, and the investigation was abandoned because there was no merit. As soon as Atu said, sometime in 19th November 2021, about 2022 budget that contained e-levy, and said that the NDC, the minority caucus at the time, were opposed. 25th or so November, Atu was summoned to the conference room of speaker.
Look, you did not oppose the concept.
Hold on.
You opposed the figure.
We oppose the rate.
The rate.
Yeah. We oppose the rate because Aina Idrisu was then our leader. Yeah. And he said we were amenable to, I think, 0.5 or 1%. No. So, but government insisted on 1.5 or 2 or something like that. Just about differentials in percentages. Oforiatta went to resurrect Atu's investigations at Yoko. Atu was summoned. When we went to speaker's conference room, Yoko said, well, they have instructions to charge him. They charged Atu. We've been attending courts. As when he was a ranking member of finance, later became minority leader, we were attending courts. Oforiatta is not greater than him. In any case, he's doing a better job. Nana Akufo-Addo and Rawlings in this country, the then first lady and ex-first lady, as part of the NDC, didn't Nana Akufo-Addo as Attorney General prosecute her? Yeah. Is Oforiatta greater than the woman who just departed into glory? So nobody should say these things. My own boss, Mahama Ayariga, when he used his common fund, NP's share of common fund to purchase a vehicle for his people, ambulance and tractor, they said we haven't heard some before. He was investigated and prosecuted. He has to be acquitted. He has to lead evidence. Prosecution led evidence and recanted. Court had to acquit him. Today is the majority leader. So please, this matters. When we are supposed to be accountable for our stewardship, just be available to stand trial. But this issue that the MPP thinks that they, with all due respect to Apia Kubi, or some persons, some persons in the MPP think that they should be immune to accountability, to a call for accountability. But as for NDC, even if your arrowhead is called upon, he must submit. Like Jerry Rawlings did, like JM did. They led this country. But they were called upon to account for their stewardship. What didn't we say about JM and about Gulfstream?
Thank you.
Why?
Well, Mr. Domologo, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We need
Good.
you here.
No, Lawyer Apia Kubi says we need you back home, so come back.
No, Uncle Laboraki, he was jailed.
My visa has not yet been revoked.
Be careful.
I'll make that application for you.
Please go ahead. I would like to come. And before the end of next week, I'll be back in Ghana, so don't worry.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, you had indicated that even if Ken Oforiatta comes, you have a challenge with our jurisprudence and the fact that it would probably take a long while even to get justice, because the lawyers know the weaknesses and nuances in the system to take advantage of and prolong this case even beyond the period that Ghanaians can tolerate. Why is that?
Yes, I think our history has taught us that in almost all these high-profile financial crimes or economic corruption and corruption-related cases, the trials take forever. And I've been wondering whether it is misplaced in law to put a time frame on trials of this type of cases. I know that we must give the accused all the chance or opportunity to defend him or herself. But sorry for crying aloud, 1 or 2 years should be enough. But some of these cases travel 4 years, 5 years, even 7 or more years. And I don't really know what it is. And to be very honest with you, I find it very frustrating. When I was in office, I was going to court most of the time. I leave my busy schedule, go to court. And at times the judge simply calls my lawyer and the other lawyer, and the case is adjourned. And I say, so if you knew you were not going to meet, you should have just informed us that you have fixed a new date. You don't waste our time. Sometimes the case will be heard 15, 20 minutes time, is adjourned to the next 2 or 3 months. I don't really get it. I don't know why they cannot take a case and run with it. I'm very much aware that, yes, of course, there may be times that they need to adjourn or take a break so that some things can be filed or some evidences, etc., can be brought in. But the trials take too long for my liking. And I think if it is doable, well, it is not a good example, though. But if you see what happened to the former Agric Minister of China, the trial took less than 3 months, and they were done. China is so efficient. Ghana cannot do the same. So why don't we say even 2 years for trial of this type of cases? Is 2 years not enough for the prosecution and the accused to come out with all the assay that they want to have in court? If we don't do this, my worry is that once this type of cases or this particular one hits the court, the lawyers are going to do everything possible to keep the case in court until their prayer is heard by God one day, there's a change in government. Then the next thing we will hear is not the prosecutor. We are no more interested. And it ends there. We must bring finality to this type of cases. I don't think it is the right thing to do. Well, it may be wrong in law, but in my personal thinking, there must be a time frame within which justice must be delivered.
And I would get a quick response from the Deputy Attorney General on this. His proposal is that to the extent that we've seen that cases run 6 years, I mean, the Dr. Punik case, 6 years on, and then there's a change in government, you see a nolle prosequi, and that this should not continue. He's proposing some time limit to such cases involving politically exposed persons, so that if it's 2 years, 2 years, if Kenofriata comes and we still have the weaknesses, the nuances you spoke about earlier, we could see this case travel the long haul, which will be years.
Yeah, so a number of factors contribute to the length of a case in court. The rules of courts is one. The offense being, prosecuted is another, and also the judge himself. All these factors contribute. And the lawyers, indeed. So, merely abridging the time will not solve the problem. We need to have in place other rules of court. So, for example, I think the previous Attorney General was in the process of having a law enacted which would take away interlocutory appeals in criminal matter until after the close of the case for the prosecution.
Right.
In other jurisdictions, you don't get the opportunity to be appealing when the case, until the prosecution closes its case. So you pile up all your appeals. When the prosecution is done, then you can have one appeal. But in our jurisdiction, you can appeal every ruling. And there could be about 3 rulings in a day. And you could appeal any of them. And any of them can give you the chance to file a stay of proceedings and have the proceedings actually stayed until the case, until the appeal is determined. And the appeal could go up to Supreme Court and review level. So we have to, first of all, look at the rules. Then also the judge. There are some judges who handle their courts in a way that within the shortest possible time, they will have the case, concluded. And there are other judges too who adopt a different methodology to their trial in such a way that it lasts longer than that. So you have to look at the judges and the training as well. And then the offense itself. Some offenses are just simple to prove, and there isn't much you can do about that. Others too are so nuanced that you need a number of witnesses, tendering several documents and other evidence which would make the trial so prolonged. So it is a combination of these factors. So what I'm saying is that merely making a law to say the trial must conclude within 6 months or within 1 year doesn't solve the problem. And indeed, before a trial starts, by the new rules, the judge must have a timetable. And if you look at all initial timetables, they don't go beyond 1 year. They will tell you, in January we have this, the prosecution will close this case. But when the reality starts, that 1 year becomes meaningless, and it goes to 2 years, 3 years, and as we have seen, how many years? 6 years in some cases. Some cases take forever until the evidence itself, and evidence is fungible. Evidence can deteriorate or even get lost. So, as a defense lawyer, your strategy really is to keep the case in law for long, for evidence to disappear, and then you have your way.
You are revealing the tactics that will
also be with investigations. Sometimes they don't conduct and conclude investigations before they start the trial.
I see, but then again, I'll come to you.
So sometimes we are too quick in commencing the prosecution when investigations may not have been completed. And indeed, when you don't have the evidence through investigation, it makes the work of the prosecutor also difficult. And then the lawyers will take advantage of that and push you so that when you are in court, you are still struggling for evidence.
With the new CMC rules, the problem of investigation, delaying the
case
trial
management conference,
is reduced, because at that point you have to put everything in evidence at CMC, disclose everything and lock your case before the trial starts. So these days, it's hard to go to a high court and say investigation is ongoing and then keep the accused in the box. The rules don't allow that. So CMC is one of the major innovations to cut down the time we spend in court.
I see. Well, Mr. Domolofo, that's the answer to the question or your appeal. The time limit may not work, but there are some measures in place to reduce how long it will take such cases taken in court. But well, the Deputy Attorney General has given some pointers to the kind of things lawyers engage in to prolong cases. He's just revealed to you that they are secret.
Well, I'm very much aware of those secrets. That's the main reason why I thought maybe we can just legislate on them so that they have a time frame to finish all those their games that they play. But well, if it is not doable in law, so be it. But I find it unacceptable because as an Auditor General, the Constitution gives me only 6 months to finish auditing the whole country and presenting my report. Then they go and sit in the courtroom on one case, 6 years, 4 years. What are they looking for? Anyway, I don't appreciate it though, but that is the position of the law.
Well, as troubling as it might be. But you are a member of the oral preparatory team. I spoke to the Deputy Attorney General earlier about oral. Does the state of affairs excite you?
Not very much. And when I say not very much, people get me wrong. Not because Attorney General and his team, in particular OSP and the NIB, are not doing their work. That is far from it. But the complaints I have or the concerns I have is the same legal framework that I said we should try and bring finality to these cases as quickly as possible. That is one of them. And also the situation where in all criminal cases, the prosecution must prove beyond reasonable doubt that Daniel stole this money is very difficult. So we should introduce lifestyle audit, reversed burden. Once it can be established that Daniel, you are a public officer and that is the only profession or job that you do, and your salary is 10,000 per month. So at the end of the year, you have earned about 120,000. How come you have 2 million in your accounts? The onus should now shift to Daniel to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he won lotto or he inherited some properties and etc. from so and so. In the absence of that, it is something acquired wrongly. If you look at Article 268 on asset declaration, I think clause 4 make it clear that if between your two declarations, the first declaration and the second or the subsequent declaration, the increase in wealth does not match your known sources of income, then it is wealth that you have acquired illegally. I think we can expand on that. We can expand that so to make trial of financial crimes easy. And I've always opined that when it comes to proving beyond reasonable doubt, somebody who has murdered, proving that is different from financial crimes, because in the course of the murder, someone may be there hiding, seeing what is happening, videoing it or taking pictures or whatever it is, which can be tendered in evidence to show that yes, he committed the crime, this is what he did, and there may be witnesses, or maybe when it was happening, some people chanced upon it and they can testify, etc. But financial crimes are not like that. A gentleman who beat the wife, people might have seen him beating the wife. Recently, we saw some videos, girl being beaten, and the police picked them up. We have the evidence to show that you did it. So proving that is different from financial crimes. The guys, the gentlemen and ladies who commit financial crimes are very intelligent. They know how to wipe or hide the audit trail. And beyond that, they are also rich, or they get the benefit of the process of their crime. With that, they can get very powerful lawyers like those that you have in your studio, or a number of them. And these guys will make the prosecution extremely difficult. Not only that, they can even go to the extent of influencing the judges. So when we decide to put financial crimes on the same level as any other crime, we are doing a lot of disservice to our country. And I think what I'm talking about is not only in Ghana. Several countries have passed the laws on reverse burden or lifestyle audit. Why can't we do the same? Thank you.
On this bit about the reverse bidding and the fact that so as to ensure that, look, there's and Deputy AG, take your quick response to this, because this is something Daniel Domelevo has been consistently proposing, so that if this proven that as a public officer, this is what you're earning or you were earning, and then you are caught in a case where you are having so much money and you are being prosecuted for it, the burden of proof should not be on you, but on the person to prove how he or she got whatever. Is that one that you will consider?
Yes, so there's actually a constitutional provision which allows this to happen. So, the provision is in respect of asset declaration, yes, which says that if you refuse to declare your assets and we find out that you did not declare as you are required to, everything that you have acquired within the period will be considered as belonging to the state unless you show otherwise. So there are instances where the burden is actually reversed. When it comes to criminal trial, there are even some specific offenses where the burden, once the prosecution shows some conclusion, then the burden shifts to the accused person to show that the fact not withstanding, it was done properly. So, but the general rule across jurisdiction has been that the prosecution has the burden to prove the guilt of the accused, and the accused is not supposed to actually even talk about anything. So, unless we are dealing with civil recovery in respect of assets, not declaration of assets, those ones the burden is a reverse one. When you go to other specific offenses, the burden is reversed. But generally, most crimes you have to show that the burden you have to prove. And there's asset declaration. Where we are trying to move to, we have conviction-based confiscation. What do we call it?
Non-conviction-based.
We have conviction-based confiscation and non-conviction-based confiscation. What we want to do is to move from conviction-based to non-conviction-based. Otherwise, most of the situations we have, you have to convict first, and then you go for the assets.
Attorney General, you told us here now that non-disclosure of assets by the law constitutes assets of the state.
Yes.
So that is a situation that you can exploit in non-conviction-based confiscation.
Precisely.
Yeah, so we need more
so right now we need more.
So the law is there already. So it is only so you see sometimes.
Let me just clarify this. Let me just clarify this. So we have a situation where one of the persons we are currently, taking through trial, has not declared his assets. So we are taking steps to implement the constitutional provision, which allows non-conviction based. I think we are two such persons. They've not declared their assets, and we wrote to the Auditor General who confirmed that they have not filed their asset declaration. So we are exploring that option. We are creating a list of all the assets that we believe belong to them, and then we'll go to court and then confiscate them, and then they will come and show how they got those assets. So we are exploring those options as well.
So all that I was saying is that the law is adequate.
Okay, great.
Oh, adequate?
No. Wait a minute. As per the prescription here, the laws allow for that.
Okay.
And we don't always have to write them in black and white. Interpretations come through judicial decisions also. So I'm saying that the platform is there in the law. So let us exploit that and then take advantage of that. And again, the tax system, the tax laws also give us opportunities for investigating assets and how they came to you. Because we all pay our taxes. So if you have an asset that has been given to you or we have acquired within a time, we can also find out how did you through the tax declarations. So let us not we take pen and amend the law. No. By practice, by judicial decisions, we can also expand the laws.
So he talked about lifestyle audit as well, that you should consider introducing.
That is also under consideration, lifestyle audit. But of course, you have to back these things up with legislation. You can't just go and pick someone and then start auditing. So that process is also under consideration.
But the OSP can. Because in the case of the
I think the
Cecilia Dapa,
OSP has the power to do lifestyle.
Yes, so that's for accused persons.
Accused persons.
I'm referencing the Cecilia Dapa case. I think
Yeah,
there is
for
something
accused
of a sort.
persons.
Yes. But if they refuse...
And that is where the Constitution allows for us to go to the asset declaration. If you have not declared the assets and it is found to be in your name or in your possession, there is a presumption under the law that these are state property.
Okay, I see. Well, Lawyer Matiwe, because you're also a member of the Oral
declaration
Preparatory
can also
Team.
be audited.
Because you're
Yes.
Thank you. Because you're also a member of the Oral Preparatory Team. But your colleague on the same team, Daniel Domelevo, says the current state of affairs doesn't excite him. And he gave reasons why.
Yeah.
You also served on this Oral Preparatory Team. What's your verdict 1 year on after doing your work?
Oh, I should say so far, so good. So far, so good. Yes. Mr. Domelevo is, yes. What it means is that we shouldn't pat ourselves on the back. We should ramp up, ratchet up the efforts, right? Yes, so he's right. I understand the context. And that's how come, you see, he himself, as he says, the delays. He knows the delays. That's why, from the beginning of, or about the middle of last year, he started this call for us to reintroduce the reverse burden. And viewers, this reverse burden, it's always been our law. Ghana, we have good laws. We throw them out, go and take something, and now we have to go.
We don't use them.
Yes. So, the case of Republic Akenya, okay, then Nkumsa. We had a reverse burden for corruption cases. That's how Nkumsa, etc., Deputy Speaker of Parliament, and that's how we convicted them. That was the law. So there was a reverse burden that if we find you with this phone and you cannot account for it, like the way Cecilia Dapa on 2 occasions tried to explain the source of the money,
and
didn't.
It's actually a provision in the OSP Act.
Yes.
Lifestyle audit.
Yes.
That's politically exposed persons.
Excellent.
You need to explain.
Yes.
To justify.
Yes. And if you don't, they can file a criminal charge against you. So in the Cecilia Dapa case, she refused to do it. And so they filed a criminal charge. But Ekufuado's government, those that will say I shouldn't mention, I'll continue. That's my style. I believe the machinations, Ankwa Numa, etc. Then they ended up withdrawing the charges. But Cecilia Dapa refused.
But that does not prevent you from filing fresh charges.
Okay, so maybe.
You think so.
Okay, excellent. But you see, and then the matter of continuing on this reverse. No, forever. As long as I late, we will continue to hold him accountable. On this matter, still on the reverse burden. So we actually have it also in the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Is it 1044? That's where it says that if we find you with money, etc., you cannot explain, it's money laundering. And that one, once again, when Godfrey Dami, Kisei Jabin passed on the case to the Iyoko, then Godfrey Dami wrote the opinion that no, Iyoko shouldn't go on. That law cannot be applied. We went to court to challenge it. Court cases take some time. The judge was transferred from Accra to Adenta. So for the past 5 months, the case has stalled. They say they have to get a warrant from the Chief Justice. That's the law. Because the judge is now in Adenta, they have to get a warrant from the Chief Justice for him to continue. But we believe that hopefully it shouldn't take more than the next 4 months. We should get to the bottom of it. Because the law is there. Is there clear? Section 1, subsection 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act. It says if we find you with money and you cannot explain, etc., it is deemed to be money laundering. This thing is so simple. And yet Godfrey Dami thwarted the efforts and said, no, that's not the law. We don't understand it. They cannot apply it.
Wrote a copious
you see? Obfuscation, Kantian obfuscation will confuse matters. Things that are simple. Is there any wonder that Rollins
is smiling?
That Rollins got frustrated with lawyers. Something that you can see. It's not only Ghana. And you see, I brought the memo from Parliament, where Parliament said now money laundering is a standalone offense. Parliament, the memo, we read it some months ago. That Honorable Dafemekwe is here. They created a law. They said, look, now when you are doing money laundering, you don't need a predicate offense in the memo. And then they went ahead to write the law. And yet, Godfrey Dami could write an opinion to say, no. There is no predicate offense, etc. They should stop. The police will do the investigation. They were buying time. And then, of course, they thought they would continue in government, and we showed them pepper small. You see it. So the point is that we people of Ghana, how am I NDC?
Yes.
We are in the middle.
Okay, gentlemen.
So let's continue. So with what Domlevo is saying, that he is not happy, he wants to see more speed. Yes, it's a legitimate call, but I'm saying that so far, so very good. And Dr. Sremsa has admitted that yes, or he agrees that more can be done. That's how come I've also asked that you recruit more. But by all standards, we cannot say what has been done so far is shambolic. No, look at one example I'll give you. You see how the National Service case, quickly, you've taken it to court, Edubuahi, etc. Look at this SML matter that has brought this Ofori-Atta debacle. The case was presented to the OSP in December 2023. They had the whole of 2024, 12 months, didn't do anything, and only started in January 2025 when Ofori-Atta had bolted. So for about 14 months, they chose not to do anything and allowed Ofori-Atta to bolt before they started. That's SML. Please don't doubt. Manasseh brought the diary of action. We showed it, Mr. Okansi, maybe for refresher. Yes, you would see it 29th of January 2025, after Ofori-Atta had fled Ghana. That was when the OSP started the investigation. Okay. But Dr. Sremsa is here. They came into office last year, February, and then look at how many cases they've taken to court. So ORA is alive and kicking and firing on all cylinders. Unlike what my good friend Dr. Zato said, ORA to assume ORA is dead. He comes here to speak to the MPP base. But you don't win elections by talking to the base. No, they are the neutral.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You are in this.
Yes, so
I also made my consultancy. You are in. It's a lie.
Okay, so Mr. Okansi, so yes, we've reconciled my thoughts with Mr. Domlevo's thoughts. So apart from what Mr. Domlevo said, we should do Sankofa. So what he's saying is that we should extend the reverse burden. Already we have the reverse burden in Ghana for money laundering and then narcotics, like what Dr. Sremsa mentioned. Narcotics cases, if we find with cocaine, once we find it, it's for you to produce the license from the Minister of Health. If not, if you don't have the license, then when we say fine you with cocaine, meaning it's been proven to be cocaine. Yes. If you don't have the license, so the burden is on you to show you have a license. If you don't have, guilty, etc. So we want an extension of the reverse burden. It's not that it's alien to our country. Another point, apart from what you mentioned, there's something else we agreed. So President Mahama, we need a new code of conduct for public officers. The asset declaration law that would make sure that when you declare your assets, they will be published online so that people in Krachin, Kwanta, people in Boku, Zwarungu, wherever, Axim, okay, from the north to the south, can just go on the net and check. So when Zato declares his assets, maybe if he makes it to parliament and he declares his assets,
which I know you are supporting,
the people, I'm not exactly if he changes. So, sorry.
No, thank you.
Okay,
right.
So with that new law, please, President Mahama, we call it the legacy of legacies, the new code of conduct law that allows publication of the declared assets. Publication, that's what we used to do. Last week, I brought the declaration, Rollins, PV of Bay, etc. Let's just go back to it. That's the game changer in the fight against corruption. Right. Because that one helps to stop it. Rather than corruption happens and then we spend a lot of time trying to prosecute.
For you, without publication, there is no law.
Yes, that's the one I'll use to judge President Mahama. In his 4 years, the law I'll use to judge him is that publication of assets.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll come to you, but the Deputy Attorney General will have to...
managers.
Please. You have to leave us. There are some questions, quite a number of them, that borders on the legal education reforms. There are some law students who are keen on hearing on how far you've gone with it, and what was it, because the two of you seated here. Anyway, but let me hear you on this. What's the latest on this legal education? Please.
In conclave now. On the legal education reform, as we speak, the Parliamentary Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs is sitting to consider the bill. In fact, they started yesterday. We were there to make presentation. In fact, we presented 4 bills to them yesterday. The 24-hour Economy Authority bills, the interstate succession bill, which is meant to amend the interstate succession law 1985. Then we PNDC law 111. Then we have the governance advisory, council bill, and then we have the last one, the legal education reform bill. So we hope that by middle of this year, we would have had the legal reform bill in place.
Too long.
Yeah, even that's too long. So maybe by first quarter, it would have been passed. Yes. And we believe our estimation is that the new regime will start in September, when the academic year starts in September.
The new legal education regime.
Yeah. Precisely.
And what would be the significant changes we'll see?
So the law basically is to hive off the regulation of legal education from to hive yes to hive off.
I have interest in this matter, so I beg you.
To hive off the regulation of legal education from the General Legal Council and give it to a different statutory body, and also to take the law school, what we know as Makola, and give those courses back to the universities to run as part of the to run. Then there will be continuing legal education. Then there will be a national bar examination, which would be conducted periodically to determine those who are qualified to be called to the bar. And so now there will not be any Makola as we see it, at least not in this form. And all the courses will be taught in the universities. And then once you are done, at the faculties, faculties of law. And once you are done, you apply and sit for the national bar exam. And when you pass, you are called to the bar by the General Legal Council.
Will this also reduce the number of years? Now we do 5 years, right?
Yeah, so it would be, no, you do the LLB for 4 years. Those who are undergrad, they will do it for 4 years. And the professional one is 1 year. But you will take it in, so it will be 5.
So how about those who are the post-degree?
Well, that's where
they would 2 years or 3 years,
so
depending on
look at it.
Yeah, so
right. But for those who are doing the normal stream of their first,
you will do your LLB 4 years, and then you do 1 year of the professional.
But then the post where you go and now it's 3 years LLB and then 2 years Makola.
Yeah.
That is where you are.
That is where the question is whether to
the post degree LLB is 3 now.
Yeah, it's 3. We did it 2
3 years. So
now it's 3 years it's 3 years.
2 years. Makola.
So now we are one of the things that the law would achieve is to also reduce the number of subjects that law students take.
Okay.
Ghana, I think our law students take too many subjects. If you compare the global, we take too many subjects.
Jack of all trades.
Yes, we take too many subjects. So it will be reduced so that the number of years will be taken care of in that regard. And we are also trying to pump into the legal education more of clinical education. Clinical is basically practical education where students have live cases under the supervision of a qualified lawyer to handle. So you don't wait and finish school before you start doing that, and that is the trend everywhere. If you look at the US, clinical is part and parcel of the legal education. The UK now they're doing that. So we are trying to basically make our lawyers competitive.
Our time, I think you were a couple of years behind me.
Yeah.
Our time, very advocacy. Yes. Senator Okujeto will tell you when Amegache GST, they will tell you these are live cases.
Yes.
When they give us the cases to us, they will tell you these are live cases.
Yeah.
Because obviously
the one I did was actually a live appeal.
Yeah, especially the criminal appeals.
Lawyer cannot do the cases by himself.
I see.
Under the supervision.
Thank you.
He may be in pupillage.
Yes.
So that he'll be learning.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Deputy Attorney General. I'm going to go for a quick break. I know you also have your minute. Because Dr. Zato will speak on this as well. We'll be back shortly after this quick break, and the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Edem Shremsai, is going to take leave of us. Thank you for that elaborate explanation about the impact that this legal education reforms will have, the reduction in the subjects, and also a possible reduction in the number of years and so on, and the number of the messages to you, the questions I have asked, but the messages I'll read after this quick break. So stay with us here. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com, And then also for those of you who have shared your views and thoughts, I promise we'll read them after this quick break. I'm clothed this morning by Kogra Clothing. For this outfit and many others, you see me well on Saturday. You can reach them on the Spintex Road, 18 Junction, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, same building with the Ghana Made store. Call Kogra Clothing for this outfit and many others on 0244 238 341, 0244 238 341 for some more inquiries. So we'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us. Thank you.
We all play differently. Some live for the thrill, some play chill. But it's the emotions that unite us. Bets for everyone. Reveal yourself. 1xBet.
In Ghana, our gold is more than a resource. It's our pride. And at Gold Board Jewelry, we celebrate that pride every day with craftsmanship that reflects who we are as Ghanaians. Introducing the Gold Board Jewelry Gold Tablet. Pure, certified, proudly Ghanaian gold. The best part, when you buy a Gold Board Jewelry tablet, you own it. You keep your gold with you, not with us. It's more than a jewelry. It's a smart investment for every Ghanaian who wants to secure their future.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. On also the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London and Voice of London television as well. Thank you very much. This one here from Erica J, who's the NAIP boss, Erica J Esquire, by the way, says, good morning. My greetings to the able Deputy Attorney General. We are grateful for the comprehensive explanation he gave this morning. I strongly believe that reasonable minds out there are gaining clarity from what he is telling Ghanaians who are willing to hear the truth. Thank you very much for your message. I have one from Dr. Note. I would read all of that and quite a number of them. Talk with Dr. Nyawo Tamaklo. Good morning. Dr. Zato, that's a quick one on this measure of accountability through the lenses of oral.
Thank you very much. You know, the last time I said oral has taught in Zoom.
Yes.
And people think that I wasn't serious, but I'm being very honest and specific about that. The challenges oral is facing now is because of the quality of the work that was done. It was poor, it was shoddy, and it is not worth it.
The work done by who?
The work that was done by the committee.
The preparatory team?
Yes, they did a very shoddy job. Here it said, there's a Asafua FM quoting the Attorney General who just left. Oral 20 billion recovery not supported by evidence. 2, there's a Joy News report here saying that oral data included garbage entries collected with a verification, quoting Domilovo. I'm quoting 2 media houses. Now, garbage in, garbage out. It seems if you are asking yourself, if extreme, powerful, intelligent, smart, investigated, preparatory put together, and you are able to put garbage in the report, garbage will come out, garbage in, garbage out. So, oral is facing poor shoddy work, poor quality work, and that is probably why right now the public is getting frustrated by what oral did, or it's not doing. Because if the quality of work was good, it's not this. Now, the Attorney General has said that there are cases that have been investigated. The question is, which one of them came directly from oral? How many of them can we say, without oral, this would have been prosecuted? I don't know. They've not given us that breakdown because we said, okay, no, assuming oral had not come out.
He actually did.
That all of there was so.
We started
so the question then with and I continue with the case. You see,
right.
I have always maintained that you didn't need oral to do these things. Because without oral, I'm sure the Attorney General could have gone ahead to do these prosecutions. Without oral, the Attorney General could have still have the same evidence to do these prosecutions. But you see, oral came part of a political tool. It was a manifesto promise that made it partisan and political. And precisely because it is partisan and political, there is a reason why you needed it to be sensational. This sensationalization you are seeing is also what was in the report and what is making it difficult or if not possible for oral to live up to its pre-voting hype. But let's hope and pray that oral does very well. The questions we are going to ask ourselves, how do you deal with this garbage that is in the oral reports? What are you going to do with this? The fact that most of this is because the public is supposed to get, we're told, is supposed to what? 20 billion United States dollars. His Excellency, the President of the Republic, says that this should be the last time we go to IMF. I agree with him, and I pray it is so. If we get $20 billion, it will help in us not going back to the IMF at all. The team promised him that he could get it. Why aren't we getting it, and why wouldn't it come?
Okay.
My point is, let's begin to look at these things and then take back the political rhetoric. Let's begin to look at this thing and begin to what? Make sure that we are dealing with only the facts and only the evidence. People are afraid of oral now. There's one reason why. People are afraid that oral will not achieve a deal because of one reason alone. They are afraid that if oral goes beyond a regime, then the nolle prosequas will fire. And you just saw the Attorney General make that case. So the fear is actually then not that decision. Then I'm saying, how did we get here? Why people are afraid? In all these oral cases, my prayer that even if they make their way to court, no Attorney General in this country should ever have that political power to issue a nolle prosequi. That no matter how good or how bad the cases are, so long as they are before court, let them reign in the court, let them thrive there, and let the court of competent jurisdiction and let the lawyer, a judge, pronounce on their guilt or otherwise. Because you see, I've also made the point that we are gaming the political system. And we saw Honorable Domilevo made point to that. And even Dr. Honorable and the PS also making that case. People who have engaged in financial crime can afford the best lawyers. That is a truism all over the world. And the best lawyers know how to get their clients out or how to reduce their crimes. So if that is the case, then we shouldn't let any lawyer game the system that my only chance of getting my client out is what? A change in Attorney General. We shouldn't give any room for that kind of system to persist, because if we continue to persist, then the justice is still just being reserved for a very small few of people. That if you are powerful and politically connected, pray that your party comes to power. Pray that the Attorney General is your friend and you will let go scot-free. I don't think that is the kind of justice system we want for all of us, especially those that are not powerful and do not have the money. So yes, I've said oral has to assume. I've said oral is not going anywhere, but let's see. The Attorney General says there are still cases being prosecuted. We all watch them and then see. But ultimately, again, regime and post-regime accountability must be important in this country.
Right.
There was something about asset declaration tied to oral, and it's something that I fully support. But you see, usually when we say part of the reason why it is not going to be done and what we say about it is because people immediately think about politicians, deputy ministers, MPs as public servants. And so when they quickly realize that we mean by that, we mean all public servants, including me now, I'm a public servant, including teachers, including nurses, including civil servants, including anybody that's paid by the government. That is where politicians are afraid to make this public asset declaration. The last thing you want is to have the civil servants rise up against you for exposing what they have achieved or not done. Because remember, I've said this in this country. We're only interested in the corruption cases that are sexy. And by sexy here, that means are partisan and political. That is why mostly you see that very few...
What definition of sexy?
Yes.
Last week I used it.
Yes. So that's why that mostly civil or public servants, directors, managers, chief directors, people like that, we are not, even when they are being prosecuted, the fanfare behind it is always too much. That's also the reason why Public Accounts Committee reports are hardly prosecuted. Because a government is afraid that if I prosecute this bureaucracy, the same bureaucracy that is supposed to support me, they will expose me or they will lead me to trouble. And that is why you realize, look, just the last Public Accounts Committee, you had ministers going there to support them, even though those actions were done when those ministers were not in power.
Okay.
Why? Because they know the power of the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful engine in every government system. They have institutional knowledge, they have expertise acquired over years. They can make and can unmake you. And that is why you see that almost all government officials, ministers in particular, are always grooving towards and giving it to the demands of this. We call something called empire building, and that is where it comes from. Unless and until we begin to realize that the bureaucracy, public servants, are subject to the same scrutiny as we do. And unless and until, as a state, we're also interested in the corruption or type of corruption they also do, this menace called corruption and bad governance will never end.
All right.
So it is important that we do that. Once we do that, and once we let people know that what we mean by this, we also mean you to, if not, our fight towards corruption and the goals of oral will remain a mirage.
Well, you quoted Daniel Domilevo, so he because he's on with us. Is it all going to hear us?
Can hear you.
Great. In what exact context did you make this comment about the garbage in your work as oral preparatory team?
Yeah, thank you very much for that opportunity. I think Dr. Zato conveniently misquoted me and using it to do what he wants to do.
It's a direct quote from Joy News. It's a direct quote.
I said, yes, please, can I? They reported me, and let me say what I said.
So they were wrong.
Okay. I said we received a lot of complaints, including garbage. I didn't say that we submitted garbage to the Attorney General. Did they say that? We didn't say we submitted garbage to the President. Did we say that? So I said we received a lot of complaints, which included garbage. And of course, those garbages, we threw them away because on the face of it, in fact, I remember there were a few of them. You can see they say, Mr. So-so and so is a member of this group or he belonged to this party and
he is driving a four-wheel drive or is living in a good. Those things, we threw them away on the face of them. And again, I want to say, with due respect, Dr. Zato, the committee is not an investigating committee. We didn't do an audit or investigation. We collected data.
Again,
but then
today, Attorney General is supporting. No, he said.
Hold on, let him finish.
Okay,
now
okay,
you are
okay.
equating the committee's job to the total oral. The oral that was the preliminary committee. From there, the president gave the report to the Attorney General and said, go ahead and do the necessary investigation. So if you opine that or position yourself that oral has fallen simply because you have maybe not seen the people being jailed, prosecuted, or monies being recovered. Time and again, I have said that almost all the evidence that we have will need to go through audit. In fact, the very day we presented the report at the office of the president, I made that statement that we have not investigated this. And being someone who has audited over several years, even when you start an investigation or an audit, your preliminary findings are at times scary. You are like, woo, what is this? But then, when the rebuttals come and evidence come and etc., you may see that the residue becomes very little. So it is also that at times what you chance upon at the start of the investigation, very little. But by the time you finish, it's so big. So please, let's allow the oral process to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, can I quickly...
Mr. Demo, thank you for that clarification. Lord Afenpo, just
Alfred, I thought I could just say
we're rounding up on it. You've
Is
had
it
quite
on
some
the
time.
asset declaration since he was going to do private members bill?
Yes. Are you going to do a private members bill on this?
Yes.
Quick.
And,
You will?
Yes, because we need to do that. And everybody is in support that the public officers Code of Conduct Act ought to be enacted. We must move away from the Code of Conduct administratively drafted to guide public servants in office, because there are so many versions of them. If you recall,
mostly inconsistent.
even if they are not consistent, they interrelate. The president himself has designed one for his appointees.
Right.
But what Parliament is saying is that we must move beyond the administrative designing of codes to actually into legislation, to legislate these codes into an enactment to guide all of us,
right,
including civil servants, not just public officers. Now, that's by the by. The other matter I want to raise is that the issue about the prosecutions protracting and delaying.
Okay.
I think the solution mainly will lie in bringing back the public tribunals. It's a promise that we gave the people. The public tribunals
the Deputy AG says it's going to happen.
Yes, you know, it's in the Constitution.
Okay.
It's already in our Courts Act. If you read Section 23 to Section 27 of the Courts Act, it makes elaborate provision for the establishment of the regional tribunals with their mandates and jurisdiction.
Okay.
So we need to establish them. When we do that, then they can be given special cases to handle. It would also give the judges opportunity to, as it were, allow, you know, lawyers who are trained lawyers become regional chairmen, and then non-lawyers will be appointed to join the panel.
Right.
And so it gives us the opportunity to do that. It will speed up a lot of the matters that are clogging up.
Okay.
Then I made the point. I mentioned Senior Kwame Pra's name. He was not in bad taste. I used him as somebody who occupied the office of the finance ministry and was called upon to account.
Okay.
We all thought that he didn't do anything wrong, but he was called upon to account. Eventually, he had to be convicted, whether he did anything wrong or not. But he was convicted.
Yeah. Okay.
Very painfully at that. We all thought that it was a witch hunt, but he was convicted, and nobody said that it was because somebody hated him. So I use that as a comparison for Furiata. Now finally, let me say that we need to be able to get anybody who is supposed to. ORA was not set up to be a prosecutorial body.
Thank you very much.
ORA was a fact-finding committee.
Thank you very much for this.
So let that education.
No. But the Attorney General said that it was just bare-bone allegations.
Sorry?
The Attorney General said it was just bare-bone allegations.
Thank you very much.
No, they were fact-finding.
No, he didn't say fact-finding. Attorney General argued this morning, today, he said it was just bare-bone allegations.
On behalf
Yes,
of
but
the
that's
team,
a
I want to say
fact-finding.
thank you very much. Mr. Robert Coleman of Wembley, thank you very much for the message. And also, you celebrated your birthday this week. Thank you very much for the message. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your comments and your thoughts. Have a good weekend.